This video was made thanks to this awesome request. Thank you for the title suggestion, and happy watching.
Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Quirkless. If you're a fan of My Hero Academia, especially awesome fanfiction stories all about Deku, you're definitely in the right place. Before we dive into today's story, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your fellow anime fans, and subscribe so you never miss a new upload. Also, if you have an awesome idea or title for the next fanfiction video, drop it in the comment below. I'd love to read your suggestions. And hey, if you want to support the channel even more and keep me extra motivated to create awesome content, consider joining our channel membership. By becoming a member, you'll unlock cool perks like exclusive loyalty badges and custom stickers you can use in the comments. If you've already joined, thank you so much. Your support truly means the world to me and helps keep this channel going. Alright, let's get right into the story.
The afternoon sun hung low above Dagoba Municipal Beach. Waves rolled against mountains of rusted metal, broken furniture, abandoned tires, and forgotten machines. It was one of the filthiest places in Musudafu. Very few people came here willingly. One of them was Izuku Midoriya. He slowly pulled another refrigerator across the sand. His breathing grew heavier with every step. Almost. There. Thud. The refrigerator landed beside an already towering pile of scrap. Izuku wiped the sweat from his forehead. His worn gloves were covered in rust. His school uniform had long been replaced by old work clothes. He looked around the endless beach. There's still so much left. He smiled anyway. I'll finish it. Every afternoon after school, he returned here alone. No heroes. No classmates. No one cheering him on. Only the sound of the ocean. Whoosh. And the cry of distant seagulls. Despite everything, he refused to give up. Hours passed. The sun slowly disappeared beyond the horizon. Orange light faded into deep blue. Izuku carried another broken washing machine toward the recycling area. As he lifted it, something caught his eye. Buried beneath layers of torn fishing nets, old driftwood, and black sand, a small piece of dark fabric barely protruded from the pile. It hadn't been there before. Izuku carefully knelt. He pulled away the debris. The more sand he removed, the larger the object became. Finally, it emerged completely. A mask. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. Its surface was made from black cloth unlike leather or metal. Tiny golden lights shimmered across it like countless distant stars. They slowly drifted beneath the fabric, almost as if an entire night sky had been sewn inside it. The eye openings glowed softly. Not brightly, just enough to make the surrounding darkness retreat. Izuku carefully brushed away the remaining sand. It's beautiful. There were no straps, no stitching, no visible damage despite being buried beneath years of garbage. He examined every corner. Who would throw something like this away? Silence answered him. Then, a gentle breeze crossed the beach. Whoosh. The stars inside the mask shimmered. Once, twice. Izuku blinked. Did it just move? He leaned closer. The tiny lights slowly rearranged themselves, forming unfamiliar constellations. The glowing eyes quietly brightened. Izuku's heartbeat quickened. This isn't normal. He should have walked away. He knew that. Instead, curiosity won. His fingers slowly reached toward the mask. The instant his hand touched the fabric, crack, the beach disappeared. Izuku found himself standing inside endless darkness. There was no ocean, no wind, no sky, only countless stars striking forever in every direction. Entire galaxies slowly drifted around him. Massive worlds rotated silently. Streams of golden light crossed the infinite void. Where am I? His voice echoed endlessly. Then, another voice answered. It came from everywhere at once. Calm. Ancient, impossible to identify, one who seeks to protect. Izuku quickly looked around. Who's there? Show yourself. The stars slowly gathered together. They formed an enormous silhouette. Its shape shifted constantly, sometimes human, sometimes something far larger. Entire constellations moved within its body. Izuku could not see a face. Only endless light. You possess no quirk, yet you still choose to reach toward others. Izuku swallowed. I just want to help people. That's all. The figure remained silent for several seconds. Then, the countless stars surrounding them began shining even brighter. Justice without reward, courage without certainty, resolve without power. Accepted. The black mask slowly floated before Izuku. This relic carries a fragment of eternity. It does not grant power. It restores balance. Izuku stared at the floating mask. Balance. When confronting another, the bearer shall never stand beneath them. Strength, speed, durability, instinct, all shall become equal, or greater. Izuku's eyes widened. That's impossible. It simply is. The voice slowly faded. Protect. Never conquer. Save. Never rule. Wear it. The mask gently drifted toward him. Without thinking, Izuku accepted it. The fabric touched his fingertips. Crack. The stars across its surface exploded with brilliant light. Gold, silver, blue. Countless streams of energy wrapped around his arm. They spiraled across his shoulders, his chest, his back. Whoosh. The mask slowly rose by itself, then settled over his face. Complete darkness. One heartbeat. Two. Then, his vision returned. The world looked different. He could see every grain of sand, every ripple across the ocean, every distant bird crossing the evening sky. His hearing expanded. Waves crashing hundreds of meters away. Boats moving beyond the horizon. The quiet heartbeat inside his own chest. None of it felt overwhelming. It simply felt natural. What? Izuku whispered. The stars across the mask quietly shimmered. Golden light reflected inside his eyes. Then, the fabric suddenly dissolved. Tiny particles of light scattered into the air. Whoosh. Where did it go? Izuku touched his face. Nothing. The mask had disappeared. He looked around the beach. Still nothing. Was that a dream? A soft glow appeared across the surface of the water. Izuku looked downward. His reflection stared back. For only a brief moment, the black mask appeared over his reflected face. Its golden eyes silently watched him. Then, it vanished again. Izuku slowly stepped backward. It's still with me. A calm warmth settled deep within his body. Not strength, not speed, just presence. Something ancient now rested beside his own existence. The evening breeze returned. Whoosh. Far beyond the beach, inside a forgotten alley, 3 armed street criminals cornered an elderly man against a wall. One villain laughed. Hand it over. The old man trembled. Please. It's all I have. The leader raised his fist. Before it could fall, somewhere across Musudafu, the hidden stars within eternity mask quietly awakened. Their golden light flickered once, as if responding to injustice itself. Night had completely fallen over Musudafu. Bright lights illuminated the towering buildings. Traffic flowed through the city's main streets. Restaurants remained crowded. Hero agencies continued responding to emergencies. Far away from the busy districts, the older neighborhoods slowly emptied. Their narrow alleyways became quiet. Only a few broken streetlights remained. Izuku walked home with his school bag resting over one shoulder. His thoughts continuously returned to the strange event at Dagoba Beach. The stars, the endless void, the mysterious voice, and the black mask. He quietly touched his face. It's still gone. Nothing happened. Maybe I imagined everything. He continued walking. Then, a sharp scream echoed through the nearby streets. Help! Izuku immediately stopped. Another scream followed. Someone, please. Without hesitation, he ran. Whoosh! The voice came from a narrow alley between two abandoned buildings. Garbage bags lay scattered across the ground. Broken pipes dripped slowly. An elderly shopkeeper had fallen beside several cardboard boxes. 3 men surrounded him. Their leader held a long steel blade. The weapon gleamed beneath the dim streetlight. One thug kicked the old man's shopping bag away. "Worthless old fool." Another grabbed his collar. "Where's the money?" I already gave you everything." The third laughed. "Then we'll take your fingers too." The blade slowly rose. Izuku stepped into the alley. "Stop." All 3 men turned. The leader frowned. "A kid." Another thug laughed. "Go home. Unless you want to die too." Izuku slowly placed his school bag beside the wall. "Leave him alone." The old man looked toward him with panic. "Run, please. They have quirks." The 3 criminals smiled. The tallest cracked his neck. "Guess he wants to play hero." Roar. Thick black scales suddenly spread across his arms. His muscles rapidly expanded. The steel blade bent beneath the increased strength. The second criminal's fingers transformed into long crimson claws. Crack. Each claw sliced through the nearby brick wall effortlessly. The third man's eyes began glowing bright yellow. Electric sparks danced around his body. Crack. Too late to run now. Izuku quietly swallowed. His body instinctively tensed. 3 quirks. He had none. Normally, there would only be one outcome. The masked reflection suddenly flashed across a nearby puddle. Golden eyes opened. The stars inside the reflection slowly rotated. Then, whoosh, a gentle warmth spread through Izuku's body. It started in his chest. Then his arms, his legs, his eyes. His heartbeat remained completely steady. The mysterious voice quietly echoed inside his mind. Threat detected. Equalization initiated. The world slowed. Izuku watched every movement, every breath, every twiddle of muscle. The towering criminal charged first. Boom. His scaled fist raced toward Izuku's face. Faster than any ordinary person could react. Izuku moved. Whoosh. He casually stepped to the side. The fist missed completely. Boom. It smashed into the brick wall instead. Dust exploded everywhere. The criminal blinked. What? Izuku stared at his own hand. I moved. The second thug lunged. His crimson claws flashed toward Izuku's chest. Whoosh. Izuku leaned backward. The claws passed barely centimeters from his uniform. Before the thug could recover. Tap. Izuku lightly struck his wrist. Crack. The criminal's entire arm lost balance. His own momentum sent him crashing into a dumpster. Boom. Ah. The third thug fired a bolt of electricity. Crack. Blue lightning shot across the alley. Izuku instinctively raised one hand. To everyone's surprise, his palm intercepted the attack. The electricity wrapped around his fingers. Then disappeared. Silence. Izuku slowly lowered his hand. It didn't hurt. The 3 criminals stared at him. Who are you? The voice returned. Only Izuku could hear it. Their strength has become yours. Their speed has become yours. Their limits are beneath yours. The leader roared. Kill him. All 3 attacked together. Boom. Crack. Whoosh. Their movements overlapped. Izuku remained perfectly calm. His body moved naturally. He slipped beneath the scaled villain's punch. Sidestepped the claw strike. Turned between both attackers. Then, his right fist gently drove forward. Boom. It landed squarely against the scaled villain's chest. The impact wasn't flashy. There was no explosion. Yet, the giant man's eyes rolled backward instantly. His body flew several meters. Boom. He crashed through stacked wooden crates. Unconscious. The clawed criminal froze. One punch. Fear entered his eyes. He screamed and rushed forward wildly. His claws slashed repeatedly. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Every attack missed. Izuku calmly walked between them. Then lightly chopped the side of his neck. Tap. Boom. The criminal collapsed face first onto the pavement. The electric villain stumbled backward. Monster. He fired another barrage. Crack, crack, crack. Izuku accelerated. Whoosh. He appeared directly in front of him. The criminal never even saw him move. You should have stopped. Tap. Izuku flicked the man's forehead. Boom. The villain spun twice before collapsing unconscious beside the alley wall. Silence returned. The old shopkeeper stared with trembling eyes. Why you defeated them? Izuku slowly looked at his own hands. Not a scratch. His breathing remained steady. His heart wasn't racing. The warmth inside his body gradually faded. The strange power quietly settled once more. The mask. It really exists. Police sirens echoed somewhere beyond the district. Wee woo. Wee woo. Izuku immediately looked toward the alley entrance. I have to go. The elderly man struggled to stand. Wait, what's your name? Izuku hesitated. He had no answer. He couldn't tell anyone who he was. The reflection inside another puddle shimmered. The black mask silently appeared again. Golden eyes watched him, then disappeared. Izuku smiled faintly. He paused for a brief moment. Just someone passing through. Whoosh. He disappeared into the darkness between the buildings. Seconds later, 2 police officers rushed into the alley. They stopped immediately. 3 unconscious criminals. 1 rescued civilian. No witnesses. 1 officer frowned. Who did this? The old shopkeeper slowly looked toward the empty rooftop. I never saw his face. Only, he remembered the glowing golden eyes. A mask. High above the alley, Izuku silently stood on a rooftop. The cool night wind moved through his green hair. Below, the police arrested the criminals. The old man was finally safe. For the first time in his life, Izuku had saved someone, without a quirk, without a hero license, and somewhere beyond the stars. The Eternity Mask quietly shimmered. Its next bearer had taken his first step into the night. 3 days passed. Life returned to normal, or at least, it appeared to. Izuku still attended school every morning. He still filled notebooks with observations about heroes. He still walked home carrying his worn backpack. But every night, after finishing his homework, he quietly climbed out of his bedroom window. His mother never noticed. Musudafu looked completely different after sunset. Towering skyscrapers remained brightly lit. Hero agencies continued patrolling the main districts. Television screens displayed smiling pro-heroes. Crime statistics. Commercials. Everything looked peaceful. Yet, only a few streets away, another world existed. Forgotten neighborhoods. Abandoned factories. Old apartment blocks. Places where hero patrols rarely stayed longer than necessary. Izuku walked through those streets alone. His school uniform had been replaced. Dark green cargo pants, black boots, a weathered hooded jacket, black gloves, a long charcoal scarf wrapped around his neck. Small utility pouches rested against his belt. Everything had been bought cheaply from secondhand stores. Nothing attracted attention. Nothing looked heroic. It looked practical. He stopped inside an abandoned warehouse. Old mirrors leaned against one wall. Izuku slowly reached toward his face. Please. Nothing happened. He sighed. I don't even know how to activate it. The warehouse remained silent. Then, a familiar warmth spread across his chest. Whoosh. Tiny golden stars drifted through the air. They gathered before his face. The black cloth slowly formed from countless particles of light. Its glowing eyes quietly opened. The Eternity Mask. It floated silently, waiting. Izuku carefully picked it up. So, you only appear when I call. He slowly placed it over his face. The cloth immediately dissolved. Whoosh. Instead of straps, it merged into his skin without discomfort. He looked toward the mirror. His own reflection had vanished. Standing inside the cracked glass, was a young man wearing a black mask filled with countless stars. Golden eyes glowed calmly beneath the hood. His freckles remained hidden. His identity disappeared completely. Izuku tilted his head. The reflection copied every movement. No one would recognize me. The voice quietly echoed inside his mind. Identity secured. Synchronization complete. Vigilance recommended. Izuku blinked. You can talk. Only when necessary. Good. That makes things less confusing. Later that night, Izuku stood atop a small apartment building. The cool wind fluttered his scarf. Whoosh. For the first time, he looked across Musudafu from above. Countless lights stretched toward the horizon. Police sirens echoed somewhere far away. Television helicopters crossed the distant skyline. The city never truly slept. Where should I start? Almost immediately, the mask responded. Multiple violent incidents. South District. Estimated arrival. 2 minutes. Izuku looked toward the indicated direction. Already, without another word, he jumped. Whoosh. His body landed on the neighboring rooftop. Thud. He stared at his feet. I jumped. That far. Before he could think further. He jumped again. Whoosh. Building after building passed beneath him. The city became a blur. Every leap felt natural. Every landing perfectly balanced. Within moments, he reached the southern district. A narrow alley stretched between several abandoned buildings. 8 men surrounded a young woman. Their clothing displayed the same gang symbol. Broken chains painted across black jackets. Their leader smiled. You should have paid. The frightened woman backed against the wall. I already told you, I don't have anything left. Another thug laughed. Then you'll work off your debt. One reached toward her. Before his hand touched her. Tap. Something landed behind them. Everyone turned. A hooded figure slowly stood. Black scarf. Dark clothing. Golden eyes glowing beneath a star-filled mask. Complete silence filled the alley. The gang leader frowned. Who are you? Izuku calmly stepped forward. Leave. The gang burst into laughter. Listen to this guy. Trying to scare us. Another thug cracked his knuckles. There are 8 of us. Only one of you. Izuku quietly looked at each of them. Ordinary strength. Ordinary weapons. Small quirks. Nothing extraordinary. The mask spoke. Equalization complete. Combat advantage established. Izuku slowly nodded. Understood. The first thug charged. Boom. He swung a metal pipe. Izuku tilted his head. Whoosh. The pipe missed completely. Before the thug recovered. Tap. Izuku lightly pushed his shoulder. Boom. The criminal spun through the air before crashing into several garbage bins. Another attacked from behind. A chain whipped toward Izuku's neck. Crack. Without looking, Izuku caught it. The thug's eyes widened. What? Izuku pulled once. Whoosh. The criminal flew forward. Boom. He landed unconscious beside his companion. The remaining 6 rushed together. Boom. 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 Izuku disappeared. Whoosh. His movements became impossible to follow. One punch. Boom. One elbow. Boom. One kick. Boom. One palm strike. Boom. The alley echoed with collapsing bodies. Less than 10 seconds later, all 8 gang members lay unconscious across the pavement. Complete silence returned. The young woman stared in disbelief. There, all down. Izuku looked toward her. Are you injured? She slowly shook her head. N number. Thank you. Izuku nodded once. Go home. Stay on the main roads. Okay. She hurried away. After several steps, she looked back. The masked stranger had already disappeared. The following morning, television screens across Musudafu displayed security footage from several neighborhoods. A blurry hooded figure appeared on every recording. Sometimes rescuing civilians. Sometimes stopping robberies. Sometimes vanishing before police arrived. The reporters looked increasingly confused. Another unidentified vigilante appeared last night. The individual possesses no registered hero costume. No known quirk has been identified. Police continue investigating. Inside U.A. High School. Teachers quietly watched the broadcast. Aizawa crossed his arms. Interesting. Present Mike grinned. New vigilante. Midnight tilted her head. He avoids the cameras and disappears before anyone can question him. Aizawa stared at the blurry image. The glowing eyes. The flowing scarf. The impossible reflexes. Whoever he is, he knows exactly what he's doing. Far away, Izuku quietly sat inside his classroom. Completely unnoticed, he listened as classmates discussed the mysterious masked figure. Did you see the news? They're calling him a vigilante. Some people online are calling him the ghost of Musudafu. Izuku simply smiled to himself. Beneath the desk, the eternity mask quietly shimmered inside his school bag. Its golden eyes remained hidden, waiting for night to fall once again. The next afternoon, classes finally ended. Students poured through the front gates. Laughter echoed across the sidewalks. Friends discussed homework. Others talked excitedly about the latest hero rankings. Izuku quietly walked alone. His notebook rested inside his backpack. His thoughts remained on the previous night's patrol. 3 robberies stopped. 2 civilians rescued. 1 warehouse fire reported before it spread. Every night, the city became a little quieter. Meanwhile, several streets away, Katsuki Bakugo walked home alone. His hands rested inside his pockets. Small explosions occasionally burst from his palms. Pop. Damn extras. He ignored everyone around him. People naturally stepped aside. None dared approach. Then, a sewer grate exploded upward. Boom. Thick black sludge erupted into the air. Before anyone understood what had happened, the living sludge wrapped itself around Bakugo's body. Whoosh. What the hell? The sludge villain laughed. Perfect. Such a powerful quirk. This body is mine. Bakugo blasted explosions wildly. Boom. 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 The explosions tore apart nearby walls. Cars flipped onto their sides. Windows shattered. Yet, the sludge simply reformed. Stop struggling. The creature completely engulfed Bakugo's face. His screams became muffled. MMPH. Pedestrians panicked. Villain. Call a hero. Run. Within minutes, police vehicles surrounded the area. Officers aimed specialized capture equipment. None dared approach. One officer gritted his teeth. Our attacks keep passing through him. Another looked around desperately. Where are the heroes? Sirens echoed throughout the district. Wee woo. Wee woo. Moments later, Death Arms arrived. Kamui Woods. Backdraft. Mount Lady. Several nearby heroes immediately joined the operation. Kamui Woods launched countless wooden branches. Whoosh. They wrapped around the sludge. For only a second. Then, the sludge slipped free. Too soft. Death Arms rushed forward. Boom. His powerful punch scattered part of the villain. Seconds later, the sludge reformed again. Useless. Backdraft blasted high-pressure water. Whoosh. The villain simply spread wider. Bakugo's movements became weaker. His explosions slowed. Damn. The crowd grew increasingly frightened. Several blocks away, Izuku heard the explosions. Boom. Boom. He immediately looked toward the smoke rising above nearby buildings. Another villain. Without hesitation, he ran into a deserted alley. His backpack landed behind several dumpsters. He pulled up his hood. Mask. Golden particles immediately appeared. Whoosh. The eternity mask slowly formed over his face. Its glowing eyes opened. Major threat detected. Analysis in progress. Izuku tightened his gloves. Let's go. Whoosh. He vanished across the rooftops. Back at the scene, Bakugo's breathing had nearly stopped. The sludge villain laughed triumphantly. Give up. Your body belongs to me. The surrounding heroes searched desperately for another solution. None came. High above, a dark figure landed silently atop a nearby building. The hood fluttered gently. The golden eyes beneath the black mask overlooked the battlefield. Izuku quietly observed everything. The mask spoke. Opponent lacks stable physical structure. Equalization initiated. Adaptive force complete. Izuku frowned slightly. Adaptive force. Your body now possesses equivalent interaction with the target. Physical contact will affect it. Understood. He stepped forward, then jumped. Whoosh. The crowd looked upward. Someone's falling. The masked figure landed directly between the heroes and the villain. Thud. Dust rose around him. Complete silence followed. Death arms blinked. Who? Kamui Woods narrowed his eyes. The Vigilante. The crowd immediately recognized the glowing eyes shown on television. It's him. The masked guy. The sludge villain laughed loudly. Another insect. You heroes never learn. The creature launched several massive tendrils. Whoosh. They rushed toward Izuku. Instead of dodging, he stepped forward. His hand reached toward the nearest tendril. Grab. The entire battlefield froze. Izuku was holding the sludge. Impossible. The villain's laughter stopped. How? The mask calmly spoke. Contact established. Equalization complete. Izuku tightened his grip. The sludge suddenly twisted violently. What are you doing? For the first time, the villain felt pain. Real pain. Izuku swung once. Boom. The enormous sludge body smashed against the pavement. The street cracked. Cars bounced several centimeters into the air. Every hero stared. He threw it. The sludge desperately tried to separate. Izuku never released his grip. Instead, he spun once. Whoosh. Then slammed the villain into the opposite wall. Boom. Concrete exploded. Pieces of asphalt scattered across the street. Bakugo's body was finally thrown free. He crashed onto the pavement. Cough. Air rushed back into his lungs. The sludge screamed. Stop. What are you? Izuku remained silent. His grip tightened further. The stars across the mask glowed brighter. Golden light spread through his arm. Compression recommended. Executing. Izuku slowly closed his fist. The gigantic sludge body rapidly shrank. The villain struggled wildly. No. The liquid mass compressed smaller and smaller, until only a fist-sized black sphere remained. Izuku calmly held it inside one hand. Complete silence covered the street. Every hero, every police officer, every civilian, stood frozen. Death Arms whispered. He captured him. Backdraft immediately activated a reinforced containment capsule. Izuku silently dropped the compressed sludge inside. Click. The seal locked instantly. The sludge villain pounded helplessly against the transparent walls. Boom. Boom. Nothing happened. The prison held. The surrounding crowd erupted. He saved him. The villains defeated. Who is he? Television helicopters quickly arrived overhead. Reporters pointed every camera toward the masked vigilante. Flash. 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 Izuku looked toward the unconscious Bakugo. The teenager slowly opened one eye. Their gazes met for only a second. Bakugo frowned. You. Before he could say anything else. Whoosh. Izuku leapt onto the nearest rooftop. Then another. Then another. Within seconds, he disappeared beyond the skyline. The crowd watched in stunned silence. Death Arms lowered his fists. He never even gave us his name. Kamui Woods stared toward the empty rooftops. Number. But now we know one thing. He looked down at the sealed containment capsule. That vigilante is powerful enough to defeat villains that even pro-heroes struggle against. Far away, standing atop a water tower, Izuku quietly removed his hood. The mask dissolved into countless golden stars. Whoosh. He looked toward the distant crowd. Sirens continued echoing through the city. Television helicopters still searched the rooftops. The mosque's calm voice echoed once more. Public awareness increased. Multiple observers now seek your identity. Izuku pulled his hood back over his head. Then, he turned toward the darkening horizon. I'll just have to stay one step ahead. The following morning, Musutafu couldn't stop talking. Every television channel replayed the same footage. A masked figure, a single leap, a mysterious battle, and the complete defeat of the sludge villain. The unidentified vigilante once again disappeared before authorities could question him. Despite operating without a hero license, the individual successfully rescued a civilian and captured a dangerous villain. Police have not released an official statement. Social media exploded. Some praised the mysterious hero. Others demanded his immediate arrest. The hashtag Masked Raider spread rapidly across the internet. Another nickname soon followed. The Equalizer. Inside U.A. High School. The teacher's lounge was unusually quiet. Principal Nezu watched the morning broadcast. Present Mike leaned against the table. He's becoming famous overnight. Midnight smiled. The public already loves him. Aizawa remained expressionless. His red eyes never left the frozen image displayed on the monitor. The hood, the scarf, the glowing eyes. He isn't showing off. Everyone looked toward him. Aizawa folded his arms. Every appearance has the same pattern. He arrives, rescues civilians, defeats the villains, leaves before recognition. Present Mike nodded. Sounds like a hero, or someone pretending to be one. Aizawa quietly shook his head. Real heroes accept responsibility. He doesn't, which makes him dangerous. Nezu tilted his head. Are you planning to investigate? Yes. Aizawa stood. I'll find him. Meanwhile, Izuku sat quietly inside his classroom. Students excitedly discussed yesterday's incident. Did you see him grab the sludge villain? That's impossible. He must have some crazy quirk. I heard he can copy powers. Someone online said he has invisible telekinesis. Izuku simply listened. He didn't say a word. Inside his school bag, the Eternity Mask quietly shimmered beneath his notebooks. That evening, light rain fell over Musutafu. Drip, drip. Streetlights reflected across the wet pavement. Izuku adjusted his hood while standing atop a narrow rooftop. Mask. Golden particles emerged. Whoosh. The familiar black mask covered his face. Its golden eyes slowly opened. Crime reports detected. Multiple locations. Priority target selected. Izuku immediately jumped. Whoosh. 20 minutes later, he arrived at an abandoned warehouse district. Loud voices echoed from inside. Move the crates. The shipment leaves tonight. Izuku carefully peered through a broken window. Inside, nearly 20 armed criminals loaded trucks. Wooden crates filled the warehouse. Some contained illegal support equipment. Others contained stolen medicine. One crate held frightened children. Their mouths had been covered with tape. Izuku's eyes narrowed. Human trafficking. The mask answered. Confirmed. Hostile count. 19. Civilian count. 7. Recommended action. Immediate intervention. Izuku quietly nodded. Let's save them. He stepped through the broken window. Crash. Glass scattered across the concrete floor. Every criminal turned simultaneously. Their leader frowned. Who the hell are you? Izuku calmly answered. Let them go. The warehouse erupted with laughter. It's the masked freak. Get him. All 19 charged together. Boom. 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 The mask spoke. Equalization complete. Combat superiority established. Izuku disappeared. Whoosh. His movements became almost invisible. One punch. Boom. One elbow. Boom. One kick. Boom. One shoulder throw. Boom. Criminals flew across the warehouse. Wooden crates shattered. Metal pipes bent. Within seconds, half the gang had already fallen unconscious. The remaining members activated their quirks. Fire, wind, stone, steel, electricity. Multiple attacks converged. Whoosh. Izuku moved through every opening effortlessly. He struck precisely once. Every opponent collapsed immediately. Less than 1 minute later, the warehouse became silent. 19 criminals, all unconscious. Not one remained standing. The terrified children stared at him. Are you a hero? Izuku walked toward them. He carefully removed the tape from the youngest child. Number, I'm just here to help. He untied every rope. Stay together. The police will arrive soon. One little girl tugged gently on his sleeve. Thank you. Izuku smiled beneath the mask. You're safe now. Police sirens echoed outside. Wee woo. Wee woo. They're here. Izuku turned toward the broken window. Then, you're leaving already. A calm voice echoed from above. Izuku immediately looked upward. Standing on a steel support beam, wrapped in a black capture scarf, was a man with long black hair, red eyes, yellow goggles, a racer head. Aizawa slowly descended. His scarf floated through the air. You're difficult to find. Izuku remained silent. Aizawa landed several meters away. I've been following your patrol pattern. You always choose places heroes rarely visit. Izuku slightly shifted his stance. The children needed help. They did. Aizawa nodded. And you helped them. But you're still operating illegally. You have no hero license. No agency. No legal authority. Izuku quietly answered. Would you have arrived before they were sold? Aizawa didn't respond immediately. Silence filled the warehouse. Rain continued falling outside. Drip, drip. Finally, Aizawa spoke. That's not the point. It is. Izuku looked toward the rescued children. They're alive. That's what matters. Aizawa's capture scarf suddenly shot forward. Whoosh. It wrapped around Izuku's arms. I'm taking you into custody. At that exact instant, Aizawa's hair floated upward. His eyes glowed crimson. His erasure activated. Silence. Both remained perfectly still. Seconds passed. Nothing happened. Aizawa frowned. What? The mask quietly spoke inside Izuku's mind. Foreign suppression detected. Unsuccessful. Cosmic authority remains active. Izuku gently pulled one arm. The capture scarf immediately loosened. Aizawa's eyes widened. My erasure didn't work. For the first time in years, his quirk had completely failed. Not weakened. Not resisted. Failed. Izuku calmly removed the scarf from his arm. My power isn't a quirk. Aizawa's expiration hardened. Then what is it? Izuku remained silent. I can't answer that. The police burst into the warehouse. Eraser head. We've secured the perimeter. They froze. Every criminal already unconscious. Every hostage rescued. Their attention shifted toward the masked vigilante. Aizawa quietly stared at him. You're surrounded. Izuku looked toward the broken ceiling. Not quite. Whoosh. He jumped. His body shot upward through the damaged roof. Before anyone reacted, he disappeared into the rainy night. Boom. Officers rushed outside. Where did he go? Search the rooftops. Don't let him escape. Searchlights swept across the city. Helicopters filled the sky. Yet, they found nothing. Standing atop a distant skyscraper, Izuku watched the flashing lights below. The rain slowly washed across his hood. Drip, drip. The Eternity mask quietly shimmered. New observer identified. Shota Aizawa. Threat level. Moderate. Izuku looked toward you. High school in the distance. He won't stop chasing me. Correct. Then, he pulled his hood lower. I'll make sure he never catches me. Far below, inside his patrol vehicle, Aizawa looked at the report one final time. His quirk had failed completely. Something he had believed impossible. He quietly closed the folder. Who are you? Masked Raider. 1 week later, Musudafu had changed. The changes were subtle, small, almost impossible to notice unless someone lived there. Late-night robberies had decreased. Street gangs avoided certain neighborhoods. Human traffickers quietly moved their operations outside the city. Criminals whispered about someone watching from the rooftops. Someone who appeared without warning. Someone who vanished before the police arrived. Someone they could never identify. The Equalizer. The ghost of the alleyways. Inside a cramped apartment, an elderly woman carefully unlocked her front door. She had just finished closing her small grocery store. Her day's earnings rested inside a worn handbag. She sighed. Another long day. Before she could enter, 3 masked robbers stepped out from the darkness. Hand over the bag. The old woman froze. Please, I need this money. One robber laughed. Then give it to us nicely. Another pulled out a knife. The woman trembled. Someone, help. A shadow quietly landed behind them. Thud. None of the robbers noticed. A calm voice broke the silence. Leave. The 3 men turned. Their expressions immediately changed. Black hood. Dark scarf. Golden eyes glowing beneath a star-filled mask. One robber instinctively stepped backward. It's him. The leader forced himself to laugh. There's only one of him. Don't panic. He activated his quirk. His forearms expanded into thick stone. Crack. Another robber's legs became covered in steel armor. The third generated sharp bone spikes from both elbows. The Eternity Mask quietly responded. Equalization complete. Physical superiority confirmed. Izuku slowly walked forward. Last warning. Leave. The leader roared. Kill him. All 3 charged together. Boom. The stone arm villain swung first. Izuku caught the punch. Grab. The criminal's eyes widened. What? Izuku twisted once. Crack. The stone arm lost all balance. The villain spun through the air. Boom. He crashed directly into a parked motorcycle. The steel-legged robber attempted a flying kick. Whoosh. Izuku sidestepped. His palm lightly touched the criminal's back. Tap. Boom. The robber skipped across the pavement before stopping against a lamp post. The final attacker lunged wildly. Bone blades slashed repeatedly. Whoosh. 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 Every strike missed. Izuku stepped inside the attack. One elbow. Boom. The criminal collapsed instantly. The entire fight lasted less than 8 seconds. The elderly woman stared speechlessly. Thank you. Izuku picked up her fallen handbag. He handed it back. Lock your door. She accepted it with trembling hands. Who are you? Izuku looked toward the night sky. Just someone passing by. Whoosh. He disappeared before she could speak again. The next morning, the security footage spread online. The comments increased by the minute. He saved my uncle last week. My brother says he stopped a robbery near the station. Heroes never come to our district this quickly. The Equalizer saved my daughter. He even called an ambulance before disappearing. Whoever he is, thank you. Another video quickly went viral. A grainy recording showed the masked vigilante carrying an unconscious child from a burning apartment building. Firefighters arrived only moments later. Another clip showed him stopping illegal quirk-enhancing drug dealers. Another showed him escorting homeless children toward a community shelter before disappearing into the rain. Every sighting followed the same pattern. He never accepted money. He never spoke longer than necessary. He never revealed his face. Inside a hidden warehouse, several gang leaders gathered around a table. Their expressions were grim. A scar-faced man slammed both fists onto the table. Boom. This keeps happening. Another nodded. 3 of our hideouts destroyed. Illegal shipments intercepted. Our collectors disappeared. He's targeting us. A woman with silver hair crossed her arms. Heroes follow procedures. They need warrants. Backup. Reports. This monster doesn't. The room fell silent. Finally, the oldest man spoke. Who is he? Nobody answered. Another gangster swallowed nervously. People say, he appears wherever innocent people are about to die. That's ridiculous. Is it? No one laughed. Later that evening, inside U.A. high school, Aizawa sat alone in the staff office. His desk had become covered with reports, photographs, crime maps, anonymous witness statements, security camera stills. He quietly connected red strings between locations on the city map. 1 robbery, 2 kidnappings, 3 assaults, illegal quirk drugs, human trafficking, street gangs. They all shared one thing. The masked vigilante. Aizawa narrowed his eyes. You're not chasing fame. You're chasing crime. He noticed another detail. Every incident happened inside districts with the fewest hero patrols. Deliberate. Nezu entered the office. Any progress? Aizawa pointed toward the map. He knows the city. He predicts where crime will happen. Or someone is informing him. Nezu looked thoughtful, interesting, and concerning. Aizawa folded another report. His power still doesn't make sense. My quirk failed completely, which shouldn't be possible. Nezu smiled faintly. Perhaps you're investigating something beyond quirks. Aizawa didn't answer. He simply continued studying the map. That same night, Izuku stood atop a church bell tower overlooking Musudafu. Cold wind moved through his scarf. Whoosh. Below him, the city stretched endlessly. Sirens echoed far away. Lights flickered across distant streets. The Eternity Mask quietly spoke. Multiple emergencies detected. Priority updated. Southwest District. Illegal trafficking. Armed resistance expiated. Izuku immediately stepped onto the edge of the roof. Let's move. He jumped. Whoosh. His figure crossed the moonlit skyline. From another rooftop several buildings away, someone silently watched him. Yellow goggles reflected beneath the night sky. Capture scarf fluttering in the wind. Aizawa lowered a pair of binoculars. Found you. Without another sound, he leapt after the mysterious vigilante. Whoosh. For the first time, the hunter had finally found the ghost. The moon hung high above Musudafu. Cold wind swept across the rooftops. Whoosh. Izuku sprinted from building to building without slowing. Far behind him, another shadow followed. Aizawa. He moved silently through the city, matching rooftop after rooftop. His capture scarf flowed behind him. His movement is efficient, almost no wasted energy. He watched the masked vigilante leap across a 20-meter gap. Whoosh. And he's not even breathing heavily. Before Aizawa could close the distance, the police radio clipped to his belt crackled. All nearby heroes respond immediately. A giant villain has appeared in downtown Musudafu. Multiple casualties expiated. Repeat. Giant villain sighted. Aizawa immediately looked toward the city center. A massive column of smoke rose into the sky. Boom. Windows rattled throughout several districts. Izuku stopped on a rooftop. He also looked toward the smoke. The Eternity Mask immediately responded. High-level threat detected. Estimated height, 26 meters. Civilian density, critical. Izuku turned. Forget chasing. People need help. Whoosh. He accelerated toward downtown. Aizawa narrowed his eyes. He changed direction immediately. Without hesitation, he followed. Downtown Musudafu. Chaos erupted. Cars overturned. Traffic lights collapsed. People ran in every direction. Run. It's coming. Get away. Standing in the center of the intersection was an enormous villain. His body resembled living stone. Thick muscles covered every inch of his frame. His head nearly reached the 10th floor of a nearby office building. Each footstep shook the ground. Boom, boom, boom. The giant laughed loudly. Heroes, come entertain me. He swung one massive arm. Boom. An entire office facade exploded into concrete fragments. People screamed. Police struggled to establish an evacuation zone. Move. Everyone move. Death Arms arrived first. He launched himself forward. Boom. His strongest punch struck the giant's ankle. The villain barely noticed. Tiny. He kicked once. Boom. Death arms crashed through 3 parked buses before stopping. Kamui Woods attempted to bind both legs. Whoosh. Massive wooden branches wrapped tightly around the giant. For 1 second. Crack. The villain flexed. Every branch shattered instantly. Mount Lady charged next. Over here. Despite her enlarged size, she barely reached the giant's chest. She tackled him with all her strength. Boom. Both slid several meters. The giant grinned. Finally. He grabbed Mount Lady by one arm. Someone my size. Before anyone reacted, he threw her. Whoosh. Boom. She crashed through an unfinished parking structure. Dust filled the air. Mount Lady is down. Panic spread. Reporters broadcast everything live. Heroes are unable to stop the giant villain. Citizens are urged to evacuate immediately. High above, Izuku arrived on a rooftop overlooking the battlefield. He silently observed the destruction. The mask spoke. Target possesses overwhelming mass. Strength exceeds previous opponents. Equalization initiated. Golden stars shimmered across the mask. Physical density adjusted. Muscle output increased. Skeletal durability increased. Impact resistance increased. Combat level established. Izuku slowly clenched his fist. He could immediately feel the difference. The rooftop beneath his feet cracked. Crack. This is incredible. You now exceed the target. By the smallest necessary margin. The giant roared again. Where are your strongest heroes? He lifted an entire city bus. People still screamed inside. No. Please. The villain laughed. Katak. He threw it. Whoosh. The bus spun toward a crowded intersection. Before anyone could react, whoosh. A black figure appeared beneath it. One hand rose. Grab. The entire bus stopped. Perfectly still. Gasps echoed across the street. He caught it. Izuku gently lowered the vehicle. Everyone out. Terrified passengers hurried away. The giant looked downward. Another insect. Izuku stepped into the open street. Leave. The villain laughed so hard nearby buildings trembled. You're smaller than my hand. Boom. His gigantic fist descended. People screamed. Look out. Izuku didn't move. The eternity mask glowed. At the final instant, he raised one arm. Boom. The collision created a shockwave that blasted across the district. Windows shattered. Streetlights bent. Dust exploded outward. When it settled, everyone stared. The giant's enormous fist had stopped. Held in place. By one human arm. Complete silence. The villain blinked. What? Izuku calmly looked upward. My turn. He pushed. Boom. The giant staggered backward. Each step cracked the pavement. Impossible. Izuku disappeared. Whoosh. The giant searched frantically. Where? Boom. A punch landed against his ribs. The enormous body leaned sideways. Before he recovered, whoosh. Izuku appeared behind him. Boom. Another strike. Then another. Boom. 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 Every impact echoed like artillery. The giant swung wildly. Whoosh. Every attack missed. The masked vigilante moved faster than the villain's eyes could follow. Stop moving. The giant slammed both fists downward. Boom. The street collapsed. Izuku was already gone. He appeared directly before the villain's face. Their eyes met. Sleep. His fist drew back. The stars across the mask shone brilliantly. Boom. The punch landed squarely on the giant's jaw. Time itself seemed to freeze. Then, boom. The villain's massive body left the ground. He flew hundreds of meters across downtown. Office workers watched through broken windows as the enormous criminal sailed overhead. Boom. The giant crashed into an abandoned construction site. Steel beams bent. Concrete shattered. Dust rose like a storm cloud. Silence followed. Everyone waited. 10 seconds. 20. 30. The giant never stood again. The city erupted. He won. One punch. The giant's unconscious. Did you see that? Television helicopters surrounded the area. Camera flashes lit the night. Far away, standing atop a damaged billboard, Aizawa silently watched the battlefield. His expression remained unreadable. His body never changed size. Yet, he looked toward the unconscious giant. His strength exceeded Mount Lady's and every other hero present. His gaze shifted back toward the masked vigilante. What exactly are you? Below, Izuku quietly looked around. The civilians were safe. The heroes were already securing the giant. His work was finished. The mask softly spoke. Mission complete. Withdrawal advised. Izuku nodded. Let's go. Whoosh. He leapt onto a nearby rooftop. Camera crews immediately followed. There. Don't lose him. Reporter helicopters chased after the mysterious vigilante. Their spotlights swept across the skyline. Izuku glanced behind him. Too many. The mask answered. Alternate route calculated. Without hesitation, he changed direction. Instead of running toward the taller buildings, he dove into the maze of narrow rooftops and forgotten alleyways. Within seconds, the lights lost him. The helicopters circled helplessly above the city. The ghost of the alleyways had disappeared once again. 3 nights later, the masked vigilante had become the city's biggest mystery. Every major news station covered his appearances. Every hero agency had received reports about him. Some agencies admired the results. Others demanded his arrest. The public remained divided. Yet, one fact could no longer be denied. Crime across Musudafu's neglected districts had fallen dramatically. Inside the office of the #1 hero, All Might quietly watched another news report. The Equalizer rescued 12 civilians during a warehouse collapse. He left before police arrived. The mysterious vigilante continues to avoid public recognition. All Might turned off the television. Silence filled the room. He folded his arms. Young man, you're helping people, but this path will eventually destroy you. He remembered another young boy. Green hair, freckles, bright eyes. The quirkless child he had met months ago. Izuku Midoriya. All Might sighed. I hope you're doing well. That same night, Izuku stood atop a radio tower overlooking the southern districts. His hood fluttered in the cold wind. Whoosh. The Eternity mask quietly shimmered. Crime level reduced. Current emergency count 0. Izuku smiled faintly. That's good. Citizens currently safe. He looked across the peaceful streets below. Families walked home. Small restaurants remained open. Children laughed while returning from evening activities. For the first time, those streets felt alive after sunset. Then, a powerful gust of wind swept across the rooftop. Whoosh. Izuku immediately turned. Someone had landed behind him. A massive figure dressed in blue, red, and gold. A white cape flowed proudly behind him. His smile was calm, yet serious. All Might. Good evening. Izuku remained silent. All Might slowly stepped closer. There's no need to prepare for battle. I only wish to speak. Izuku kept his distance. Then speak. The #1 hero studied the young masked vigilante. His posture, his breathing, his steady gaze. None of them belong to an ordinary criminal. You've saved many lives. For that, you have my gratitude. Izuku gave a small nod. People needed help. Yes, they did. All Might's expression became more serious. However, what you're doing cannot continue. You operate outside the law. Without oversight, without accountability, without a hero license. Izuku calmly answered. And yet, people were rescued. Villains were stopped. Children returned home safely. All Might remained quiet. Izuku continued. How many times have heroes arrived too late? How many people have waited for permission while someone was dying? The wind blew between them. Whoosh. All Might slowly lowered his head. Our system isn't perfect. I know that. But rules exist for a reason. Heroes answer for their actions. They're trained. They're supervised. They protect society together. Izuku looked toward the streets below. Those streets were abandoned. The people living there had already accepted that no hero would come. Someone had to. All Might followed his gaze. The district below had indeed become quieter. Less violence. Less destruction. He had seen the reports himself. Izuku spoke again. I don't want rewards. I don't want rankings. I don't want television interviews. I only want people to sleep without fear. All Might smiled sadly. That sounds exactly like a hero. Then why stop me? The question lingered in the air. All Might took a slow breath. Because one mistake is enough. If your judgment fails, if innocent people are hurt, there will be no one to stop you. The law exists to protect everyone. Izuku answered without raising his voice. And who protects people while the law is still deciding? Silence. Neither answered immediately. Far below, police cars slowly patrolled the streets. Families continued walking home. The city remained peaceful. All Might finally spoke. You're carrying too much responsibility. You're still young. Let the heroes shoulder that burden. Izuku shook his head. I've watched enough people wait. Waiting doesn't save anyone. All Might looked directly into the glowing golden eyes behind the mask. Then, at least tell me your name. Izuku stood silently. The Eternity Mask softly whispered. Identity disclosure. Not advised. He looked back at All Might. My name isn't important. Only the people I'm protecting. All Might sighed. I was hoping you'd say something else. He slowly stepped forward. I cannot ignore someone operating outside the law. Even if your intentions are good. Izuku lowered his center of gravity. Are you trying to arrest me? I'm trying to stop you before someone else gets hurt. Including yourself. The rooftop became silent. The air itself felt heavier. Whoosh. All Might vanished. A powerful gust exploded across the rooftop. Boom. He appeared directly in front of Izuku. His punch stopped only centimeters from the mask. He wasn't attacking. He was testing. Izuku's body moved naturally. Whoosh. He shifted one step sideways. The punch missed completely. All Might's eyes narrowed. Incredible. The Eternity Mask responded instantly. Opponent identified. Symbol of peace. Equalization initiated. Strength adjusted. Speed adjusted. Durability adjusted. Combat capability established. Izuku immediately felt the difference. The rooftop beneath his boots fractured. Crack. All Might noticed. Your power changed. Izuku looked at his own hand. Again. Without warning. All Might threw another punch. Boom. Izuku answered with one of his own. Boom. Their fists collided. A tremendous shockwave burst outward. Glass windows across nearby buildings rattled. Antennae bent. Birds scattered into the night sky. Whoosh. Both slid backward several meters. All Might's cape whipped violently behind him. He stared at the masked vigilante. He matched my strength. Without effort. Izuku was equally surprised. This, as All Might's level, the mask quietly answered. Slightly beyond. Both stood still once more. Neither prepared another attack. After several long seconds, All Might slowly lowered his fists. I understand now. Izuku remained ready. Understand what? All Might smiled. Forcing this battle won't solve anything. You won't surrender. And I refuse to endanger the people below us. Izuku slowly relaxed. Good. All Might turned toward the edge of the rooftop. But remember this. The more famous you become, the more dangerous your enemies will become. He glanced over his shoulder. When that day comes, don't face it alone. Before Izuku could answer, All Might leapt into the night. Whoosh. Within seconds, he disappeared beyond the skyline. Izuku stood quietly beneath the stars. The Eternity Mask spoke. Analysis complete. All Might does not consider you an enemy. Izuku looked toward the distant city. Number. He's trying to protect people. He paused. Just like I am. Far away, standing atop another skyscraper, All Might looked back one final time. Whoever you are, I truly hope your path doesn't end in tragedy. The two guardians of Musudafu walked different roads, yet both continued watching over the same city beneath the night sky. Rain fell steadily over Musudafu. Drip, drip. The city lights reflected across the wet streets. Inside an abandoned apartment overlooking the Eastern Industrial District, Izuku quietly observed the road below through a pair of binoculars. The Eternity Mask had spoken nearly an hour earlier. Unusual activity detected. Organized criminal movement. Estimated threat high. Izuku lowered the binoculars. Organized. Confirmed. Not an ordinary street gang. Multiple armed vehicles. Destination unknown. Headlights appeared in the distance. 3 black cargo trucks. 2 armored vans. Their windows were completely tinted. They traveled without police escorts. Without company markings. Their route avoided every major highway. They're hiding. The mask answered. Confirmed. Illegal operation. Izuku quietly stood. Then let's stop them. Whoosh. He leapt from the rooftop. Inside the lead truck, a large man with tattooed arms glanced toward the convoy behind him. Keep formation. Another man nodded. The shipment reaches the harbor in 20 minutes. Boss said no mistakes. Wooden crates filled the cargo compartment. Each carried warning labels. Sealed metal containers rested inside. Their contents glowed faintly. Small glass vials. Bright crimson liquid. One nervous driver swallowed. Are we really transporting Trigger? The tattooed man glared. Don't say its name. Just drive. None of them noticed. A shadow silently crossing the rooftops overhead. Izuku kept pace with the convoy effortlessly. His eyes remained fixed on the trucks. Mask. What exactly are they carrying? The Eternity Mask responded immediately. Chemical enhancement compound. Illegal. Extreme physiological instability. Probability of civilian casualties if distributed. 98%. Izuku frowned. Then we end it here. The convoy entered an elevated industrial bridge. Empty. Isolated. Perfect. Izuku jumped. Whoosh. He landed directly in front of the lead truck. Thud. The driver widened his eyes. What? Brake. Screech. Rubber screamed across wet asphalt. The truck barely stopped before hitting him. The remaining vehicles halted one after another. The convoy leader stepped outside. Who the hell? His eyes narrowed. The Equalizer. Another gangster cursed. I knew this would happen. Truck doors slammed open. Boom. 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 More than 30 armed men surrounded Izuku. Assault rifles. Metal bats. Combat knives. Several activated powerful quirks. One generated steel armor. Another released streams of fire. Another transformed into a massive beast nearly 4 meters tall. The leader smiled coldly. You're famous. Too bad. You picked the wrong shipment. Izuku slowly stepped forward. Release the cargo. Leave. The criminals laughed. There are 32 of us. You're alone. The Eternity Mask quietly interrupted. Multiple opponents. Combat synchronization. Complete. Overall threat surpassed previous encounters. Equalization updated. Izuku immediately felt another surge. His muscles became lighter. His senses sharpened. Even the falling rain seemed slower. Drip. Drip. The world entered perfect clarity. The leader pointed forward. Kill him. Boom. The beast-type villain charged first. Each footstep shattered concrete. Boom. 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 He swung an enormous claw. Whoosh. Izuku vanished. The claw struck empty air. Where? Boom. A single punch landed beneath the beast's jaw. The massive criminal lifted completely off the ground. He flew backward through an armored van. Crash. Metal twisted inward. The villain never stood again. Impossible. Fire erupted. Whoosh. Flames engulfed the bridge. Izuku calmly walked through them. The fire split around his body. The fire user froze. That's not possible. Izuku reached him in one step. Tap. Boom. The man collapsed unconscious. Gunfire erupted. Bang. 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 Dozens of bullets crossed the bridge. Izuku moved. Whoosh. Every bullet missed. Some struck abandoned guardrails. Others shattered streetlights. He weaved effortlessly between them. Before the gunman could reload. Boom. 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 One strike. One opponent. Every criminal fell instantly. Steel-armored fighters. Speed enhancers. Strength users. None lasted longer than a second. The convoy leader finally activated his own quirk. His body expanded. Muscles doubled. Veins glowed crimson. You forced me to use this. He rushed forward with monstrous speed. Boom. His fist collided with Izuku's. Boom. A shockwave swept across the bridge. Both remained standing. The leader smiled. Finally. Someone who can fight. The Eternity Mask quietly spoke. Target adapting. Equalization updated. Izuku felt another subtle increase. Just enough. Always. Just enough. He smiled beneath the mask. That's your limit. What? Boom. Izuku disappeared. The leader's eyes darted wildly. Too fast. An elbow struck his ribs. Boom. A kick landed against his knee. Crack. The giant stumbled. Before he recovered, Izuku appeared above him. Sleep. Boom. One downward punch slammed him into the bridge. The concrete collapsed beneath the impact. Dust filled the air. When it cleared, the leader lay unconscious inside a crater. Silence. 32 criminals. Defeated. Less than 4 minutes. Izuku walked toward the cargo trucks. He opened one crate. Inside, dozens of trigger vials rested in reinforced containers. So this is it. The mask answered. Confirmed. Shipment linked. Organized criminal syndicate. Identity. Shie Hassaikai. Izuku's eyes narrowed slightly. There's someone bigger behind this. Confirmed. This operation represents only a fragment. Before he could examine further. Whoosh. Something sliced through the rain. Izuku immediately stepped aside. A throwing knife embedded itself into the truck behind him. Crack. Another. Then another. Crack. Crack. Izuku looked toward a nearby warehouse rooftop. 3 figures stood beneath the rain. Black suits. White plague masks. Their leader slowly lowered another knife. Interesting. The Equalizer. Another figure spoke quietly. Our mission wasn't the shipment. It was to confirm whether the rumors were true. The leader nodded. Now we know. Don't engage. Report everything to the boss. Before Izuku could pursue them, all 3 disappeared. Whoosh. The rooftops became empty once again. The Eternity Mask quietly spoke. Hostiles escaped. Tracking unavailable. Izuku looked toward the darkness where they had vanished. They were observing. Confirmed. Future encounters highly probable. Police sirens echoed from both ends of the bridge. Wee woo. Wee woo. Izuku looked back at the unconscious criminals. The police can handle the rest. He turned toward the skyline. It's time to leave. Whoosh. His figure disappeared into the rain. Far away, inside a luxurious underground office, a man wearing white gloves calmly listened to a report. One subordinate knelt before him. Sir, the shipment was lost. Every operative was defeated. The room became silent. The man slowly tapped his fingers against the desk. Tap, tap, tap. The masked vigilante. Yes, exactly as the rumors described. The man smiled faintly. Interesting. Perhaps, Musudafu has produced something worth studying. His gloved hand rested upon a single crimson vial. The symbol of the Shie Hassaikai was engraved upon the container. Keep watching him. Our paths will cross again. Early morning. U.A. High school stood beneath a clear blue sky. Students from Class 1A gathered outside the academy's massive entrance. Their excitement was impossible to hide. Today was different. Instead of ordinary classes, they would participate in rescue training. 13 waited beside the bus. Everyone, today's lesson will focus on disaster rescue. Please remember, saving lives is every bit as important as defeating villains. The students cheered. Yes. Inside the crowd, Ochako smiled brightly. I can't wait. Iida adjusted his glasses. We must treat today's exercise with complete professionalism. Bakugo crossed his arms. Just give me something to blow up. Todoroki quietly stared out the window. None of them noticed. High above, someone stood on the rooftop of a nearby building. Golden eyes silently watched the departing bus. Elsewhere, Izuku slowly walked through one of Musudafu's quieter districts. He carried several grocery bags for an elderly woman. Thank you again. The old woman smiled warmly. I would have never carried these home by myself. Izuku nodded politely. Be careful. I will. Once she entered her apartment, he quietly walked toward a nearby alley. Mask. Whoosh. Golden particles gathered. The Eternity mask slowly formed over his face. Status. The mask immediately answered. City stable. Violent crime. Minimal. Izuku smiled faintly. Good. Then, the warmth inside the mask suddenly changed. Its stars spun faster than ever before. Golden light intensified. Warning. Izuku immediately stopped. What happened? Major hostile convergence detected. Location. U.A. High school. His eyes widened. U.A. Multiple high-level signatures. One exceeds previous threat assessments. Civilian casualties. Probability. Extreme. Izuku looked toward the distant skyline. U.A. stood far beyond countless buildings. Who's attacking? Identity. League of Villains. Primary targets. Students. Silence. For only 1 second. Then, whoosh. Izuku disappeared. Inside the USJ, students admired the enormous rescue facility. Oceans, mountains, collapsed buildings, urban disaster zones. Every environment had been recreated. Ochako looked around excitedly. It's huge. Kirishima laughed. This place is awesome. 13 smiled beneath the helmet. Today you'll learn how dangerous quirks can become if misused. Before another word could be spoken, a strange black mist appeared in the center of the plaza. Whoosh. It expanded rapidly. Students stepped backward. Iida frowned. That's not part of the lesson. Electric purple energy erupted from the portal. Crack. Dozens, then hundreds, of villains emerged. Armed criminals filled the plaza. 13 immediately stepped in front of the students. Everyone, stay back. A pale young man scratched his neck continuously while walking through the portal. Tamura Shigaraki. Behind him, a towering monster stepped into the light. Nomu. Its massive muscles dwarfed every surrounding villain. Finally, the black mist condensed into human form. Kurogiri bowed slightly. Our arrival appears successful. Shigaraki slowly looked around. Where? As All Might, Aizawa stepped forward. Students, don't move. His capture scarf floated upward. I'll handle this. Shigaraki smiled. There's only one hero. How disappointing. Outside U.A. Izuku sprinted across rooftops faster than ever before. Whoosh. The city blurred beneath him. Mask. How much time? Hostile engagement has begun. Students already endangered. His pace increased again. Boom. Every leap cracked the rooftops beneath his feet. Inside USJ, Aizawa charged first. Whoosh. His scarf wrapped around several villains. Boom. 3 criminals crashed together. Another kick. Boom. Another throw. Boom. Villains collapsed one after another. The students stared in amazement. He's incredible. Shigaraki watched quietly. Nomu. Break him. Roar. The bioengineered monster vanished. Boom. It appeared directly before Aizawa. One punch. Boom. Aizawa barely crossed his arms in time. The impact launched him across the plaza. Crash. He smashed through broken concrete. Blood dripped from his forehead. The students gasped. Sensei. Nomu walked forward again. Roar. Outside, Izuku finally reached the academy walls. He looked toward USJ. The massive dome stood peacefully beneath the sky. Yet the Eternity Mask glowed intensely. Multiple civilians trapped. Entry recommended. There's no time. Izuku immediately jumped. Whoosh. He landed atop the enormous dome. Security alarms echoed. He ignored them. One powerful punch. Boom. The reinforced glass ceiling shattered. Countless fragments scattered through the air. Every person inside looked upward. Sunlight poured through the opening. A black figure descended silently through the falling glass. His dark scarf fluttered. His hood covered his head. Golden eyes shone beneath the Eternity Mask. Thud. He landed directly between Nomu and the injured Aizawa. Complete silence filled USJ. Ochako whispered. That's. Bakugo immediately recognized the glowing eyes. The Vigilante. Todoroki narrowed his gaze. The Equalizer. Shigaraki slowly tilted his head. Interesting. The little street hero finally arrived. Nomu roared. Roar. Izuku calmly looked at the bioengineered monster. The Eternity Mask instantly responded. Target identified. Combat level exceeds previous opponents. Equalization initiated. Golden stars blazed across the mask. Strength adjusted. Speed adjusted. Durability adjusted. Combat superiority established. Izuku slowly clenched his fist. The concrete beneath his boots exploded. Crack. Shigaraki smiled wider. Good. I wanted to see whether the rumors were true. He pointed directly at the masked vigilante. Nomu. Kill him. Roar. The monster lunged forward. Boom. Its enormous fist tore through the air. Izuku stepped forward. Their fists collided. Boom. A shockwave erupted across USJ. Water exploded from the nearby flood zone. Trees bent violently. Students stumbled backward. Every villain froze. Nomu had stopped moving. Its gigantic arm remained locked against the vigilante's single fist. Izuku didn't move an inch. Shigaraki's smile slowly disappeared. What? The Eternity Mask quietly whispered. Equalization complete. Beginning counteroffensive. The collision echoed throughout USJ. Boom. Waves surged across the flood zone. Broken concrete slid across the plaza. Students struggled to remain standing. Even the villains instinctively stepped backward. Nomu's enormous fist remained locked against Izuku's. Neither moved. For one long second, everything became silent. Then, boom. Izuku pushed forward. Nomu slid several meters across the plaza. Its feet carved deep trenches into the concrete. Shigaraki's eyes widened. He pushed Nomu. Kurogiri remained silent. His glowing eyes never left the masked vigilante. His physical strength is increasing. The Eternity Mask quietly spoke. Target possesses multiple biological enhancements. Shock absorption detected. Super regeneration detected. Combat adaptation complete. Izuku stared at the monster. Shock absorption. So normal punches won't finish it. Correct. Nomu roared. Roar. Its muscles expanded. The monster vanished. Boom. It reappeared behind Izuku. Its fist descended like a meteor. Boom. Izuku twisted. Whoosh. The punch struck empty ground. The plaza exploded beneath the impact. Huge chunks of concrete shot into the air. Students covered their faces. Wadak out. Nomu attacked again. Boom. 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 Every punch shattered another section of USJ. Its speed surpassed nearly every opponent Izuku had faced. Yet, the Eternity Mask continued adjusting. Equalization updated. Reaction speed increased. Movement prediction synchronized. The world slowed. Izuku watched every muscle contract. Every shift in the monster's balance. Every movement became obvious. He stepped inside the next punch. Whoosh. His fist struck Nomu's ribs. Boom. The bioengineered monster staggered. Another punch. Boom. Then another. Boom. Nomu slid backward, its chest visibly dented. Before everyone's eyes, the damaged flesh regenerated. Crack. Muscle reformed. Bones straightened. Skin healed completely. Kirishima stared in disbelief. It healed. Bakugo clenched his fists. That thing's cheating. Aizawa slowly stood despite his injuries. Blood dripped onto the broken pavement. Its regeneration, combined with shock absorption. That's why it was built. Shigaraki laughed. Exactly. Nomu exists for one purpose. To kill All Might. He pointed toward Izuku. You're just the first victim. Nomu disappeared again. Boom. Its elbow slammed into Izuku's side. Boom. For the first time, Izuku was launched backward. He skipped across the plaza before stopping. Crack. Students gasped. He got hit. Ochako took one step forward. No. Todoroki immediately stopped her. Wait. Dust slowly settled. A single figure stood, completely unharmed. Izuku calmly brushed concrete dust from his sleeve. That's stronger. The Eternity Mask responded. Equalization updated. Physical durability increased. Muscular output increased. Current superiority established. Izuku rolled one shoulder. Let's finish this. Whoosh. He vanished. Even Nomu lost sight of him. The monster turned wildly. Roar. Boom. Izuku's kick landed against Nomu's jaw. The monster lifted off the ground. Before it landed, whoosh. Another punch. Boom. Then another. Boom. Another. Boom. He never allowed Nomu to touch the ground. Each strike launched the creature into another direction. Every impact shook USJ. Villains could only Waddick. Their strongest weapon was being overwhelmed. Shigaraki scratched his neck repeatedly. Move. Fight back. Nomu roared. Roar. It finally caught Izuku's wrist. The monster squeezed. Crack. The ground beneath both of them shattered. Yet, Izuku didn't react. He calmly looked at the massive hand gripping him. Done. Nomu growled. Roar. Izuku slowly closed his free hand into a fist. The Eternity Mask shone brighter than ever. Countless stars rotated across the black fabric. Target regeneration identified. Recommended solution. Complete structural destruction. Izuku nodded once. Understood. He drove his fist forward. Boom. It struck Nomu directly in the center of its chest. Nothing happened. For half a second. Then, crack. A tiny fracture spread across the monster's torso. Another. 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 Within moments, hundreds of glowing fractures covered Nomu's entire body. The bioengineered monster froze. Its regeneration desperately activated. Crack. 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 The cracks spread faster. Nomu roared. Roar. Boom. The entire monster exploded outward. Not into blood. Not into gore. Its artificial body simply burst apart into thousands of flesh fragments and shattered bioengineered tissue that scattered across the battlefield. Every fragment twiddled, then became completely motionless. Silence. Absolute silence. The League of Villains stared. Students stared. Even Aizawa remained frozen. Their strongest weapon had been destroyed. Completely. The Eternity Mask quietly spoke. Hostile eliminated. Combat objective complete. Izuku slowly lowered his fist. Shigaraki's hands trembled. No. That's impossible. Nomu. Lost. His breathing became uneven. It was stronger than All Might. How? Kurogiri's calm voice broke the silence. Tamura Shigaraki. Our objective has changed. Remaining here is no longer advantageous. Shigaraki ignored him. His eyes remained locked on the masked vigilante. Who are you? What are you? Izuku answered calmly. Someone stopping you. Those simple words echoed across USJ. Bakugo stared at the mysterious vigilante. He destroyed that monster. Todoroki narrowed his eyes. Without revealing any quirk, Ochako quietly smiled. He saved Aizawa. Iida clenched both fists. He saved everyone. Aizawa slowly looked toward the black mask. His erasure had failed before. Now, he had watched this unknown vigilante destroy a creature specifically created to defeat the symbol of peace. He quietly whispered to himself. This isn't a quirk. Across the battlefield, Shigaraki slowly lowered his scratching hand. For the first time since arriving at USJ, fear entered his eyes, not because of All Might, but because of the silent figure standing before him. The Equalizer. The Masked Raider. The man who had just broken the League's ultimate weapon with a single decisive blow. Silence covered USJ. Broken concrete. Collapsed walls. Villains lying unconscious. The remains of Nomu scattered across the battlefield. Every pair of eyes remained fixed on the masked vigilante. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. Shigaraki slowly stared at the empty space where Nomu had stood only moments ago. His fingers trembled. Nomu. His voice barely escaped his throat. Gone. He looked down at one of the monster's broken arms. It no longer regenerated. It no longer moved. It was simply dead. The scratching began again. Scratch. 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 His nails dragged violently across his neck. No. No. That's wrong. That's impossible. His breathing became increasingly uneven. It was made to kill All Might. How did you? He suddenly raised his head. His red eyes locked onto Izuku. Who are you? Izuku calmly answered. Someone standing in your way. Shigaraki's expiration twisted. I'll kill you. Boom. He disappeared. His speed shocked every student present. Bakugo narrowed his eyes. He's fast. Todoroki remained focused. Too fast. Shigaraki's hand reached toward Izuku's face. Decay. The Eternity Mask quietly responded. Hostile quirk identified. Equalization maintained. Izuku moved. Whoosh. He sidestepped effortlessly. Shigaraki's fingers brushed only empty air. His hand struck the ground instead. Crack. The concrete immediately crumbled into dust. The decay spread rapidly across the pavement. Students gasped. Don't touch him. Ochako stepped farther back. That quirk. Everything it touches. Aizawa shouted. Stay away from his hands. Shigaraki attacked again. Whoosh. His fingers reached for Izuku's shoulder. Again. They missed. Whoosh. Again. They found nothing but air. Izuku's movements had become impossible to predict. Every step appeared effortless. Every dodge required only centimeters. The Eternity Mask quietly whispered. Movement synchronization complete. Reaction speed exceeds hostile perception. Shigaraki gritted his teeth. Stop moving. He lunged wildly. His attacks lost all rhythm. All control. Scratch. 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 His frustration only grew. Boom. He kicked forward. Izuku stepped aside. Boom. Another punch. Miss. Another grab. Miss. Again. 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 Every attack failed. Shigaraki's breathing became heavier. Why? Why can't I touch you? Izuku calmly watched him. You're too slow. Those 3 words echoed through the plaza. Shigaraki froze. His expiration completely changed. Too slow. Rage exploded across his face. Don't mock me. He rushed forward with everything he had. Boom. Whoosh. Boom. Whoosh. Every strike missed. Izuku never counterattacked. He simply avoided every movement. Every failed attack pushed Shigaraki further toward panic. Villains watching nearby slowly backed away. One whispered nervously. Boss. Can't even touch him. Another swallowed. He's playing with him. Kurogiri remained perfectly still. Inside his mist-covered face. His concern continued growing. Tamura Shigaraki. Calm yourself. This opponent is beyond current expectations. Shigaraki ignored him. Shut up. I'll kill him. He attacked again. Izuku calmly slipped beneath his arm. Whoosh. He gently pushed Shigaraki's wrist aside. Tap. The league leader stumbled forward, completely off balance. Before he recovered, Izuku appeared behind him. Enough. Shigaraki spun around. His hand immediately reached toward Izuku's neck. Again. Nothing. Whoosh. The masked vigilante had already moved. Shigaraki looked around frantically. Where are you? His eyes darted wildly across USJ. Rooftops. Collapsed buildings. The fountain. The flood zone. Nothing. Then, a calm voice came from directly behind him. Here. Shigaraki's eyes widened. He turned. Boom. Izuku's open palm struck the center of his chest. The impact wasn't lethal. It wasn't even intended to injure seriously. Yet, the force launched Shigaraki across the plaza. Boom. He bounced twice before rolling to a stop beside the central fountain. Water erupted into the air. Shigaraki coughed violently. Gh. He struggled to stand. His entire body shook. How? He looked toward the masked vigilante once more. For the first time, he felt something unfamiliar. Fear. Real fear. High above, inside the USJ control room, the surviving staff watched through security monitors. One employee whispered, "That vigilante, he's protecting the students." Another nodded. "And the heroes. He hasn't attacked anyone else." Below, Class 1A quietly watched. Hiroshima stared with admiration. "He's incredible." Mina slowly nodded. "He defeated Nomu, and now he's making that villain look helpless." Bakugo clenched his fists. "He's holding back." Todoroki glanced toward him. "You noticed too." Bakugo nodded. "If he wanted, he could have ended it already." Ochako quietly looked at the masked vigilante. "He doesn't want to kill." Iida adjusted his broken glasses. "He only attacks enough to stop them." Aizawa silently listened. They were right. Every strike had been measured. Every movement controlled. The mysterious vigilante possessed overwhelming strength. Yet, he used only the force necessary. Shigaraki slowly stood again. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth. Scratic. His scraticking had become frantic. Why won't you fight seriously?" Izuku answered calmly. "Because you aren't my enemy." Shigaraki froze. "What? The people you're trying to hurt? They're the ones I'm protecting. You're only standing between us." Shigaraki's breathing became erratic. I'll. Before he finished, Kurogiri appeared beside him. Whoosh. Black mist surrounded the league leader. "Tamura Shigaraki, our mission has failed. Remaining here will only increase casualties. Withdrawal is advised." Shigaraki immediately resisted. "No, I'm not finished. I'll kill him." Kurogiri's portals expanded. "This is an order based upon tactical necessity. Nomu has been destroyed. Our forces have been defeated. Continuing this engagement offers no strategic value." Shigaraki looked toward Izuku one last time. His hands trembled. His breathing remained uneven. "I'll remember you, masked hero. Next time, I'll destroy everything you care about." Izuku remained silent. The Eternity Mask quietly whispered. "Hostile fixation confirmed. Probability of future encounters certain." Purple mist completely swallowed the remaining villains. Whoosh. Within seconds, the plaza became empty. The League of Villains had retreated. Silence returned to USJ. Students slowly lowered their guards. Police sirens echoed outside the facility. Wee woo. Reinforcements had finally arrived. Izuku looked around. Everyone was alive. Aizawa was injured, but conscious. The students were shaken, but safe. His mission was complete. The Eternity Mask softly spoke. "Civilian survival. 100%. Izuku gave a small nod. "Good." Before anyone could approach him, he bent his knees. Whoosh. He leapt through the shattered ceiling. Sunlight poured through the opening as his dark figure disappeared into the sky. Bakugo immediately ran toward the hole. Damn it, he's gone. Ochako looked upward. He didn't even wait for thanks. Todoroki quietly watched the empty sky. He came, saved everyone, and left. Far away, standing atop the tallest building overlooking U.A. Izuku looked back once. Police vehicles flooded the academy grounds. Ambulances arrived. Heroes secured the remaining villains. The Eternity Mask quietly whispered. New designation established. League of Villains. Primary hostile organization. Izuku looked toward the distant horizon. Then, I'll stop them before they hurt anyone else. High inside a swirling portal, Shigaraki looked back through the closing mist. His red eyes burned with hatred. The Equalizer. Next time, I'll make you disappear first. 3 weeks after the USJ incident. Hosu City. Unlike Musudafu, Hosu never truly rested. The streets remained crowded. Restaurants stayed open late into the night. Pro-heroes constantly patrolled the commercial districts. Yet, behind the bright lights, another darkness spread. Heroes had begun disappearing. Some were found alive, badly injured. Others never returned. Inside a police briefing room, detectives examined several photographs spread across a large table. Each image showed a defeated pro-hero. Deep sword wounds, knife injuries, broken support equipment. A senior detective folded his arms. Another one. A younger officer sighed. Same pattern. He only targets heroes. The detective nodded. And leaves ordinary civilians untouched. He placed another photograph beside the others. Hero killer stain. The room fell silent. That same evening, Izuku stood atop a tall office building overlooking Hosu City. His hood fluttered gently. Whoosh. The Eternity Mask quietly shimmered. Multiple emergency reports. Priority target located. Izuku looked across the city. Stain. Confirmed. Serial murderer. Current pursuit. 3 licensed heroes. Izuku frowned. Show me. Golden stars rotated across the mask. A glowing route appeared within his vision. Through rooftops. Across narrow streets. Toward the old warehouse district. Found him. Whoosh. Izuku leapt into the night. Far below, Tenya Iida ran through the deserted streets. His breathing was uneven. Brother. He tightly gripped a photograph of Tensai Iida, the former Ingenium, hospitalized, unable to walk. The image had never left his pocket. I'll find him. I'll make him pay. He disappeared into another alley. Elsewhere, Stain calmly cleaned his blood-stained sword. He stood beside an abandoned building. Several unconscious heroes lay nearby. Alive, but unable to move. Their blood stained the pavement. Stain slowly looked toward the moon. Another false hero. His voice remained calm. Another name unworthy of the title. Footsteps echoed nearby. Tap, tap, tap. Stain smiled slightly. Someone approaches. He turned. Instead of another hero, a hooded figure stepped into the alley. Black clothing. Dark scarf. A mask filled with moving stars. Golden eyes quietly watched him. Stain narrowed his gaze. The masked vigilante. The Equalizer. Izuku stopped several meters away. You're underestimating the police. Stain laughed softly. The police. They chase criminals. I execute frauds. He slowly rested his sword upon one shoulder. Which are you? Izuku calmly answered. Someone stopping you. Stain nodded. Good. Then you've come to test your conviction. He walked forward. Tell me, why do you fight? To become famous. To earn money. To hear people cheer your name. Izuku quietly shook his head. None of those. Then why? Because people need help. Stain stopped walking. Is that truly enough? Yes. Even if nobody thanks you. Yes. Even if the law calls you a criminal. Yes. Stain's eyes sharpened. Interesting. He slowly lowered his sword. You resemble him. Izuku remained silent. The symbol of peace. Yet, you're different. You reject the hero system. And still protect others. For several seconds, neither moved. The wind quietly crossed the alley. Whoosh. Stain's smile slowly disappeared. But, there is one thing I cannot overlook. He pointed his sword toward Izuku. You allow false heroes to continue existing. Their greed, their vanity, their corruption, they poison the meaning of hero. Izuku answered immediately. Murder doesn't fix that. Stain's expiration hardened. It removes the disease. It creates another. Those heroes you attacked, some deserved criticism. Some made mistakes. But killing them doesn't protect anyone. Stain slowly tightened his grip. You don't understand. I understand enough. Izuku took one step forward. Families lost parents. Partners lost friends. People who needed those heroes lost them. Your victims aren't only the people you attack. Stain remained silent. Izuku continued. You say you protect heroism. Yet every person you kill leaves another neighborhood without protection. Another child without help. Another criminal free to hurt innocent people. The alley became completely quiet. Stain looked directly into the golden eyes behind the mask. You speak with conviction. Yet, words alone cannot judge justice. He raised his sword. Crack. Show me. Prove your resolve. The Eternity Mask quietly spoke. Hostile intent confirmed. Equalization initiated. Target possesses superior combat skill. Combat synchronization complete. Izuku slowly raised his fists. I didn't come here to kill you. Stain smiled. Good. Because I did. Boom. Stain disappeared. His speed shocked even experienced heroes. His sword flashed beneath the moonlight. Whoosh. Izuku tilted his head. The blade passed within centimeters of his mask. Stain immediately followed with a knife. Crack. Another slash. Another thrust. His attacks flowed together like water. Yet, every strike missed. The Eternity Mask quietly whispered. Prediction synchronized. Counter timing available. Izuku calmly stepped between the incoming attacks. Whoosh. Stain's eyes widened. He read my movement. Izuku lightly struck the flat of Stain's sword. Tap. The blade shifted just enough to ruin the next attack. Before Stain recovered. Boom. Izuku's palm struck his shoulder. Stain slid backward several meters. His boots scraped across the pavement. Good. A grin spread across Stain's face. Very good. Finally. Someone worth testing. He lowered his stance once more. His blood-red eyes narrowed. Show me whether your justice is stronger than mine. The night around them fell silent. Above, dark clouds slowly covered the moon. The duel between the hero killer and the masked raider had finally begun. Rain began falling across Hosu City. Drip, drip. The abandoned alley disappeared beneath the growing darkness. Water slowly washed fresh blood away from the cracked pavement. Stain and the masked vigilante stood several meters apart. Neither spoke. Neither lowered their guard. The Eternity Mask quietly whispered. Hostile combat analysis complete. Victory probability. Absolute. Izuku answered silently. I'm ending this without killing him. Confirmed. Stain slowly raised both swords. His expiration no longer carried amusement. Only focus. Your movements. They're flawless. Let me see whether your resolve matches them. Boom. He vanished. His speed exploded far beyond before. Whoosh. One blade swept toward Izuku's throat. Another aimed for his ribs. Izuku leaned backward. The swords crossed in front of him. Stain immediately spun. His combat knife flew toward Izuku's shoulder. Crack. Izuku caught the knife between two fingers. Stain's eyes widened. What? Izuku tossed it aside. Clang. Before Stain reacted. Boom. Izuku stepped forward. One elbow struck Stain's chest. Boom. The hero killer staggered backward. Yet, instead of retreating, he smiled. Excellent. Again. Whoosh. Their figures blurred across the alley. Boom. Crack. Boom. Stain's blades continuously sought openings. Each strike carried decades of discipline. Every movement was precise, every angle calculated. Yet, the Eternity Mask adjusted with every exchange. Combat synchronization updated. Hostile swordsmanship completely analyzed. Countermeasures established. Izuku no longer needed to dodge completely. He redirected attacks with small movements. A fingertip, a wrist, a shoulder. Every sword strike slipped harmlessly past him. Stain attacked faster. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. His blades became silver streaks beneath the rain. Izuku calmly advanced through them. Tap, tap, tap. Every step stole another opening. Impossible, Stain whispered. You learned. During the fight, Izuku answered. I adapt. Stain's smile returned. Then adapt to this. He suddenly threw both swords. Whoosh, whoosh. They flew from opposite directions. At the same instant, he rushed directly between them. Knife drawn. His true target wasn't the mask. It was Izuku's exposed forearm. Slash. The blade finally cut through fabric. A thin red line appeared. A single drop of blood rolled down Izuku's arm. Stain caught it instantly. Got you. His tongue touched the blood. The alley became silent. Blood curdle. Nothing happened. Stain frowned. What? He concentrated. Again. Blood curdle. Still. Nothing. Izuku remained standing exactly where he was. The Eternity Mask calmly spoke. Foreign biological suppression detected. Conceptual authority overrides biological interference. Status. Immune. Stain stared. My quirk. Failed. Izuku slowly looked at the small cut. Your quirk works on bodies. This power isn't governed by quirks. Stain stepped backward. For the first time, confusion entered his eyes. What are you? Just someone trying to stop unnecessary deaths. Stain tightened his fists. No, everyone has limits. Everyone can bleed. Everyone can fall. Izuku answered calmly. Yes, but innocent people shouldn't fall because of your beliefs. Stain suddenly roared. You understand nothing. Boom. He rushed forward with everything remaining. His fists, his knees, his elbows, even broken sword fragments became weapons. He abandoned elegant technique. Only relentless determination remained. Boom, boom, boom. Izuku met every attack, not with overwhelming force, but with perfect efficiency. A redirect, a block, a sidestep, another redirect. Stain's attacks gradually slowed. His breathing became heavier. His muscles shook. Izuku remained completely composed. The Eternity Mask quietly whispered. Hostile fatigue. Critical. Non-lethal restraint recommended. Izuku nodded once. Understood. Stain launched one final overhead strike. Whoosh. Izuku stepped inside the attack. He grabbed Stain's wrist. Twist. Crack. The remaining blade fell. Clang. Before Stain could recover, Izuku turned. Using Stain's own momentum. Boom. He threw him across the alley. The hero killer crashed into a brick wall. Crack. The wall fractured. Stain slid to one knee. He tried to stand again. His legs refused. Izuku calmly approached. Stain attempted another punch. Izuku caught it effortlessly. It's over. Stain looked up. His chest rose and fell heavily. Finish it. Number. Kill me. Number. Why? Izuku released his wrist. Because justice isn't revenge. And protecting people doesn't require becoming a murderer. Stain silently stared at him. Rain continued falling. Drip. Drip. For several moments, neither spoke. Finally, Stain lowered his head. You're different from the others. Perhaps. Perhaps I judged too quickly. Before Izuku answered, the sound of police sirens echoed through the district. Wee woo. Wee woo. The Eternity Mask quietly spoke. Law enforcement arriving. Estimated arrival. 48 seconds. Izuku removed several heavy restraint cables from a nearby construction site. Within seconds, Stain's wrists and ankles were securely bound. His swords, knives, and every hidden weapon were placed beside him as evidence. Izuku stepped back. The police can decide the rest. Stain quietly laughed. You truly believe the system can change? I believe people can. Izuku turned toward the rooftops. Whoosh! He leapt upward. Stain watched the masked figure disappear into the rain. The Equalizer. Perhaps you're closer to a true hero than anyone I've met. Moments later, police vehicles surrounded the alley. Officers rushed toward the restrained serial killer. Their eyes widened. It's Stain. He's alive, fully restrained. Another officer noticed the neatly arranged weapons and all the evidence. A detective looked toward the empty rooftops. The masked vigilante. He handed us the entire case. Far above the city, Izuku stopped atop a communications tower. He looked down at the flashing police lights. The Eternity Mask quietly whispered. Primary target neutralized. Hosu City threat level reduced. Izuku looked toward the distant skyline. There will always be another. Confirmed. New threat signatures already emerging. The golden stars across the mask slowly rotated. Far away, inside a dark bar hidden beneath Musudafu, Tamura Shigaraki slammed his hand onto a table. Boom. Stain has been captured. Kurogiri nodded quietly. Yes. By the masked vigilante. Shigaraki's fingers twitched. Scratic. 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 First Nomu. Now Stain. His crimson eyes burned with growing hatred. That mask keeps taking everything from me. Deep within the shadows, a distorted voice finally spoke for the first time. Interesting. Every person inside the bar fell silent. From the darkness, a tall figure slowly opened a single visible eye. Bring me everything about the Equalizer. 3 days after Stain's capture, the news spread across Japan. Every television station covered the same story. The hero killer, finally arrested. Yet, another name dominated every headline. The Equalizer. The mysterious vigilante had defeated Stain, left behind every weapon, and disappeared before the authorities arrived. The public couldn't decide what disturbed them more. The existence of Stain, or the vigilante who had stopped him. Inside U.A. High School. Class 1A quietly watched the morning broadcast. The television displayed footage of the alley where Stain had been captured. Once again, the unidentified vigilante known as the Equalizer intervened before authorities arrived. Police continue requesting any information regarding his identity. President Mike lowered the television's volume. Quite the week, huh? Hiroshima leaned forward. He really caught Stain. Mina nodded excitedly. And without killing him. Ochako quietly smiled. That's exactly what he'd do. Bakugo clicked his tongue. Tick. He beat Nomu. He beat Stain. And nobody even knows who he is. Todoroki remained silent. His eyes stayed fixed on the screen. He always arrives before everyone else. Iida lowered his head. His hands tightened beneath the desk. He saved me. Nobody noticed the quiet gratitude in his voice. That evening, Musudafu returned to normal. Children laughed in parks. Families walked through shopping districts. Crime reports continued decreasing. The Eternity Mask quietly spoke. City crime reduced by 26%. Izuku stood atop a rooftop overlooking the neighborhood. Good. Citizens becoming safer. He turned away. Let's keep it that way. Whoosh. He disappeared into the night. 20 minutes later, a scream echoed through a nearby street. Help. Izuku immediately changed direction. Whoosh. He landed inside a narrow alley. 3 armed robbers surrounded a small convenience store. One pointed a pistol toward the frightened owner. Empty the register. Another kicked over shelves. Crash. The third grabbed a frightened child hiding beside her mother. Don't move. Before anyone reacted, whoosh, a dark figure landed between them. The robbers froze. Golden eyes looked back at them. The Equalizer. Panic spread instantly. One robber fired. Bang. Izuku caught the bullet between two fingers. Silence. The criminal slowly dropped his weapon. Run. All three tried escaping. Boom. Whoosh. Tap. 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 Less than 5 seconds later. Every robber lay unconscious. The frightened child looked up. Mister, are you a hero? Izuku looked at her. Just get home safely. Before she answered, whoosh, he disappeared. The mother quietly whispered, thank you. Across another district, two familiar figures watched everything from a rooftop. Ochako lowered the borrowed binoculars. He's gone again. Tsuyu adjusted her hood. Ribbit. He always leaves before anyone can thank him. Both girls wore ordinary hooded jackets instead of hero costumes. They had quietly followed emergency reports for nearly an hour. Not to arrest him, but to understand him. Ochako looked toward the empty alley. Every report is the same. He only attacks criminals. He protects civilians first, and never waits for attention. Tsuyu nodded. He doesn't act like someone chasing recognition. Ribbit. He acts because people need help. Ochako smiled softly. Exactly. Later that night, another emergency call echoed through police radio frequencies. Multiple civilians trapped. Warehouse fire. Possible explosion. Izuku immediately altered course. Whoosh. Flames already consumed the old warehouse. Firefighters struggled to approach. Thick smoke covered the street. People shouted desperately. My husband is still inside. There are workers trapped. Without hesitation, Izuku entered the burning building. Boom. Collapsed beams crashed around him. The Eternity Mask quietly whispered. Thermal resistance adjusted. Structural collapse predicted. Inside, 6 workers remained trapped beneath fallen steel supports. Help. Izuku lifted the enormous beam with one hand. Boom. Everyone, move. One by one, the workers escaped. Before leaving, Izuku noticed another presence. A little girl, unconscious, hidden beneath broken machinery. Mask, life signs, stable. He carefully lifted the debris. Crack. The child opened her eyes weakly. Mom, you're safe. He carried her outside. The crowd erupted in relief. Firefighters rushed toward the survivors. Everyone made it. All civilians rescued. When they looked back, the masked vigilante had already disappeared into the smoke. From a distant rooftop, Ochako and Tsuyu had witnessed everything. Ochako slowly lowered her hood. He went back. He already rescued everyone. Tsuyu quietly smiled, and he checked for survivors before leaving. Ribbit. Just like a rescue hero. Ochako looked toward the burning warehouse. He risks everything. Without a license. Without support. Without expecting anything. She became quiet. I want to help him. Tsuyu looked at her friend. You know we'd get into trouble. I know. But leaving him alone doesn't feel right. The following night, Izuku stood atop an abandoned observation tower. The city stretched endlessly beneath him. The Eternity Mask suddenly spoke. Multiple observers approaching. Izuku turned. 2 figures climbed onto the rooftop. Ochako Uraraka, Tsuyu Asui. Both raised their empty hands, showing they carried no weapons. Izuku remained silent. Ochako stopped several meters away. We're not here to arrest you. Tsuyu nodded. Ribbit. We only wanted to talk. The wind quietly crossed the rooftop. Whoosh. Izuku studied both girls. Why? Ochako answered honestly. Because we've seen what you do. You save people, every single time, without asking for anything. We can't pretend you're just another criminal. Izuku remained quiet. Tsuyu continued. We won't reveal your identity. We won't interfere. But, if innocent people are in danger, we want to help. Silence settled across the rooftop. The Eternity Mask quietly whispered. Psychological analysis. Complete. Deception probability. 0.3%. Hostile intent. None. Izuku slowly looked at both students. I don't work with teams. Ochako smiled. We're not asking you to. Just don't carry everything alone. Those words lingered in the quiet night. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Finally, Izuku gave a small nod. If civilians need evacuation, you protect them. I'll stop whoever threatens them. Ochako's face brightened. Deal. Tsuyu smiled. Ribbit. That's enough. The Eternity Mask quietly spoke. New operational status. Informal allies established. Designation. Underground alliance. Far away, inside a hidden medical laboratory. A television replayed footage of the USJ incident. Nomu's destruction. Stain's capture. The warehouse rescue. A gloved hand SWITI ched off the screen. Click. The room fell silent. He's becoming a symbol. A deep voice echoed from the darkness. Symbols must either be controlled or destroyed. Dozens of stolen quirks pulsed within the shadows. One invisible eye slowly opened. All for One had begun moving. 1 month after the hero killer's capture. High school. The atmosphere had changed. Security had doubled. Teachers remained on constant alert. Yet, training could not stop. Inside the faculty meeting room, Nezu calmly looked over the assembled pro-heroes. The training camp location remains classified. Aizawa nodded. Only trusted personnel know the destination. Vlad King crossed his arms. After USJ, we can't afford another mistake. All Might remained unusually quiet. His thoughts wandered back to one person. The masked vigilante. The Equalizer. He had appeared exactly when people needed him. Then vanished before anyone could speak. Far away, Izuku quietly walked through Musudafu carrying groceries for an elderly couple. After helping them inside, he continued toward a nearby park. Children laughed around him. Families enjoyed the afternoon. The Eternity Mask quietly whispered. City stable. Violent crime minimal. Izuku smiled faintly. That's good. Before he could continue, the stars across the mask suddenly accelerated. Their glow became brighter than ever. Warning. Izuku immediately stopped. What happened? High-level hostile movement detected. Multiple signatures. Destination. Forest training camp. His expiration became serious. Confirmed. League of Villains. Vanguard Action Squad. Estimated civilian casualties. High. Izuku looked toward the mountains visible beyond the distant skyline. They're attacking the students. Confirmed. Recommended immediate deployment. Without another word, he disappeared. Whoosh. Hours later, deep within the forest, Class 1A and Class 1B continued survival training. Pixie Bob laughed while controlling enormous earth beasts. Come on. Keep moving. Students sprinted through the trees. Bakugo blasted another mud creature apart. Boom. These things never end. Kirishima laughed. That's the point. Deeper inside the forest, Mandalay suddenly froze. She placed a hand against her ear. Everyone, stop. The surrounding heroes immediately turned. What is it? Mandalay's expiration darkened. Intruders. Multiple. Before anyone could react, boom. An enormous explosion echoed through the forest. Birds scattered into the sky. Trees shook violently. Students stopped running. What was that? Another explosion followed. Boom. Then another. Boom. Mandalay's telepathic voice echoed inside every student's mind. Villains have invaded the camp. Everyone retreat immediately. Panic spread instantly. Several kilometers away, the Vanguard Action Squad advanced through the burning forest. Dabi calmly walked forward. Blue flames danced across his hands. Whoosh. Spread out. Find the targets. Spinner nodded. Right. Twice released dozens of clones. Compress adjusted his mask. What an exciting evening. Muscular cracked his neck. Where are the strong ones? His massive muscles expanded beneath his skin. I want a real fight. Boom. He punched through a giant tree with one arm. The trunk collapsed. Crash. He laughed loudly. Come out. High above the forest canopy, Izuku crossed the mountains at unbelievable speed. Whoosh. The wind roared around him. Mask. Status. Hostiles entering multiple combat zones. Highest threat. Muscular. Target approaching isolated student. Identity. Kota. Izuku's eyes narrowed. Show me. A golden path instantly appeared before him. Without slowing, he changed direction. Boom. Inside a narrow mountain ravine, Kota desperately ran through the rain. Leave me alone. Behind him, Muscular laughed. Run faster. Boom. One leap carried him over 20 meters. He landed directly in front of the terrified child. Rocks shattered beneath his feet. Caught you. Kota stumbled backward. Stay away. Water blasted from his small hands. Splash. The attack barely touched Muscular. The villain laughed. That's adorable. His muscles expanded even further. Veins bulged across his body. Don't worry. This won't take long. He raised one gigantic fist. Boom. Before it could fall, whoosh, a black figure landed between them. Thud. The ground cracked. Golden eyes calmly met Muscular's gaze. Silence. Muscular slowly smiled. Well, now this looks interesting. Kota looked up in disbelief. The masked man. Izuku didn't look back. Stay behind me. Muscular laughed louder. I know you. The Equalizer. The guy who smashed Nomu. He rolled one shoulder. Good. I've been dying to test myself. The Eternity Mask quietly spoke. Target identified. Extreme physical augmentation. Combat equalization initiated. Strength. Adjusted. Speed. Adjusted. Durability. Adjusted. Golden stars blazed across the black mask. Muscular immediately noticed. Your power's changing. Good. Mine too. His muscle fibers exploded outward. Raw layers of muscle armor covered his body. The surrounding trees bent beneath the pressure. Let's see. Which monster hits harder? Boom. Muscular charged. The earth split beneath every step. Izuku stepped forward. Boom. Their fists collided. A colossal shockwave erupted across the valley. Trees snapped. Rocks exploded apart. Kota shielded his face. Dust covered the battlefield. When the air cleared, both fighters still stood. Muscular grinned wildly. That's it. That's exactly what I wanted. The Eternity Mask quietly whispered. Target output increased. Equalization updated. Combat superiority restored. Izuku slowly clenched his fist. You won't reach anyone else. Muscular lowered his stance. Then stop me. Before either could move, another warning echoed inside Izuku's mind. Secondary priority. Dabi approaching student group. Estimated interception window. 4 minutes. Izuku remained perfectly calm. One opponent before him. Another racing toward innocent students. The Eternity Mask quietly answered the question he hadn't spoken. Current combat may conclude within 37 seconds. Izuku's golden eyes narrowed beneath the mask. Then that's all the time this fight gets. He vanished. Whoosh. Muscular's smile disappeared. What? The valley disappeared beneath a cloud of dust. Broken trees littered the mountainside. Rocks continued tumbling from shattered cliffs. Muscular looked around wildly. Where did he? Boom. Izuku's fist struck the side of his ribs. A deafening shockwave exploded through the valley. Muscular's enormous body skipped across the ground before smashing through 6 trees. Crash. 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 He barely regained his footing. Instead of fear, he laughed. Yes. Harder. His muscle fibers expanded even further. Layers upon layers of living muscle wrapped around his body like armor. Let's go. He charged again. Boom. The entire valley shook beneath every step. The Eternity Mask quietly spoke. Hostile physical output increasing. Equalization updated. Current superiority maintained. Izuku calmly stepped forward. Muscular swung both fists together. Boom. Izuku caught them. The impact shattered the ground beneath his feet. Muscular pushed harder. Veins bulged across his forehead. Move. Izuku didn't move an inch. Done. What? Boom. With one sharp twist, Izuku redirected both massive arms away from himself. Muscular stumbled. Before he recovered, boom. An uppercut struck beneath his jaw. His gigantic body lifted completely off the ground. Izuku vanished. Whoosh. He appeared above him. This ends now. Boom. One downward punch slammed Muscular into the mountain. The cliffside collapsed. An avalanche of stone buried the villain. Crash. Silence followed. Then, the rocks exploded outward. Boom. Muscular emerged covered in blood. His breathing had become uneven. The thick muscle armor protecting his body had almost completely disappeared. "You're still stronger," the Eternity Mask quietly whispered. Hostile stamina approaching exhaustion. Recommended conclusion. Izuku nodded. Understood. Muscular roared one final time. "I'm not finished." He gathered every remaining strand of muscle around his right arm. The limb became enormous, nearly the size of a truck. "Take this." Boom. He threw everything into one final punch. Izuku answered with one punch of his own. Boom. The collision split the clouds above the valley. A massive shockwave swept through the forest. Every nearby tree bent outward. Muscular's oversized arm shattered. Crack. The artificial muscle armor burst apart. The impact continued through his body. Boom. The giant villain flew backward over 200 meters before crashing unconscious into the remains of a cliff. Silence returned. The Eternity Mask calmly announced. Primary hostile neutralized. Combat duration. 34 seconds. Izuku immediately turned. Next target. Whoosh. He disappeared. Deeper inside the burning forest. Class 1A struggled through the darkness. Fire spread rapidly between the trees. Students became separated. Shoji helped several classmates move toward safety. "Keep going." Tokiyami looked around. "Where's Todoroki?" Before anyone answered, blue flames erupted across the forest. Whoosh. Dabi calmly stepped through the fire. His stitched face remained expressionless. "Found you." Students immediately stopped. "Villain." Dabi slowly raised one hand. Blue fire gathered above his palm. "This won't take long." Before he attacked, whoosh, a black figure landed between both sides. Golden eyes reflected the surrounding flames. Ochako smiled in relief. "It's him." Suyu nodded. "Ribbit." He came. Dabi tilted his head. "The Equalizer. I was wondering when you'd show up." He slowly looked toward the unconscious Muscular visible far away through the broken trees. "So, you defeated him?" Izuku calmly answered. "Yes." Dabi sighed. "What a disappointment." Blue flames exploded around him. Whoosh. The surrounding temperature skyrocketed. Trees ignited instantly. The Eternity Mask quietly spoke. "Target identified. Extreme thermal output. Equalization initiated. Temperature resistance adjusted. Reaction speed updated. Combat superiority established." Dabi smiled faintly. "Let's see. Can you burn?" He thrust both hands forward. Whoosh. A gigantic wave of blue fire consumed the forest. Students shielded themselves. Wattock out. The inferno swallowed everything ahead. Yet, a dark silhouette calmly walked through the center of the flames. Every step remained steady. His clothes didn't burn. The mask glowed softly beneath the blue fire. Dabi's smile disappeared. "You're kidding." Izuku continued walking. "Your flames can't reach anyone." "Not while I'm here." Dabi increased the heat. Blue fire condensed into massive pillars. Whoosh, whoosh. They crashed down from every direction. The Eternity Mask quietly whispered. Thermal output exceeded. Equalization updated. The flames began bending around Izuku. like water flowing around stone. He continued advancing, unchanged, unharmed. Dabi stared silently. What are you? Someone stopping this attack. Izuku suddenly vanished. Whoosh. Dabi instinctively jumped backward. Too late. Boom. Izuku's palm struck his chest. The impact blasted Dabi through several burning trees. Crash. He rolled across the forest floor before forcing himself upright. Blood dripped from the corner of his mouth. Damn. He laughed quietly. You're even stronger than the reports. Before either could continue, purple mist suddenly appeared beside Dabi. Whoosh. Kurogiri emerged. Withdraw. Dabi looked annoyed. Already. Muscular has been defeated. Moonfish has been captured. Mustard has fallen. Our operational success rate continues declining. Dabi glanced toward the masked vigilante. Because of him. Kurogiri nodded. Precisely. Dabi slowly stood. Fine. We'll finish this another day. Before entering the portal, he looked directly at Izuku. The boss wants to meet you. He's very interested. Izuku remained silent. Tell him, I'm not. Kurogiri's mist swallowed both figures. Whoosh. They vanished. The forest became quiet once more. Students slowly gathered around the masked vigilante. Ochako stepped forward. Everyone's safe. Tsuyu smiled. Ribbit. Thanks to you. Before Izuku could answer, the Eternity Mask suddenly emitted a deep pulse. Its stars stopped rotating. For the first time, its voice carried unmistakable urgency. Warning. Izuku became alert. What is it? An anomaly has entered Japan. Location. Kamino Ward. Identity confirmed. For several seconds, the mask remained silent. Then, it spoke a name unlike any before. All for one. Izuku's expiration hardened. Already. Confirmed. Hostile possesses the greatest concentration of quirk-based power recorded. Equalization parameters prepared. Far beneath the ruins of an abandoned factory in Kamino. A tall man wearing a black life support mask stood in absolute darkness. Dozens of stolen quirks pulsed around him like invisible storms. He slowly raised one hand. So, his distorted voice echoed through the chamber. The child wearing Eternity's fragment has finally appeared. A faint smile crossed his scarred face. How fascinating. Let us discover whether Cosmic Authority can surpass the King of Quirks. Night fell over Kamino Ward. Thunder rolled across the sky. Dark clouds swallowed the moon. The abandoned factory stood in complete silence. Every window had long since shattered. Every wall carried scars from forgotten battles. Inside, a single figure waited. All for one. Countless stolen quirks stirred beneath his ruined body. His mechanical life support mask emitted a steady rhythm. Hiss, hiss, hiss. He calmly stood with both hands behind his back. He's coming. One of his subordinates hesitated. Master, should we prepare the Nomu? All for one slowly shook his head. Leave us. This meeting belongs to no one else. Without another word, every subordinate disappeared into the darkness. Far above Kamino, Izuku crossed the rooftops at incredible speed. Whoosh. The Eternity Mask had remained silent for several minutes. Its golden stars rotated more slowly than usual. Mask, you've been quiet. Analyzing. The opponent. Confirmed. Warning. The hostile possesses thousands of integrated biological abilities. Highest threat encountered. Izuku remained calm. Will you still adapt? The answer came immediately. I was created for balance. No amount of accumulated power exists beyond equalization. Izuku nodded. Then let's finish this. Boom. He leapt toward the abandoned factory. Thud. Izuku landed inside the ruined warehouse. Dust rose around him. Broken steel beams surrounded the empty floor. At the center, All for One quietly turned toward him. Welcome. His distorted voice echoed throughout the chamber. The Equalizer. Izuku remained silent. I've been looking for you. I know. All for one slowly walked forward. Do you? Then perhaps you also know. Why? Because I keep stopping your people. Partially. He stopped walking. What truly interests me, isn't you. It's the artifact. The Eternity Mask quietly whispered. Hostile attention focused upon conceptual authority. All for one smiled beneath his mask. Fascinating. Even now, it speaks. Izuku took one step forward. You're not taking it. We'll see. Silence returned. Then, All for one slowly raised his right hand. Black lightning erupted around his arm. Crack. The air itself trembled. Multiple quirks activated simultaneously. Air cannon. Kinetic booster. Spring-like limbs. Strength enhancement. Impact recoil. Power multiplier. Countless invisible abilities merged into one overwhelming force. The warehouse began collapsing from pressure alone. Crack. Crack. The Eternity Mask immediately responded. Hostile output increasing. Equalization initiated. Golden light spread across the black cloth. Physical output. Adjusted. Durability. Adjusted. Reaction speed. Adjusted. Conceptual authority. Maintained. All for one observed quietly. Remarkable. My strength rises. And yours follows. Yes. How beautifully inconvenient. Boom. He attacked. An invisible shockwave erupted from his fist. The warehouse wall vanished instantly. Concrete exploded outward. Izuku stepped forward. Boom. Their fists collided. The impact silenced the storm. Then, boom. A colossal shockwave erupted across Kamino. Windows shattered several streets away. Streetlights bent. Nearby buildings trembled. Inside the collapsing warehouse, both fighters remained standing. All for one tilted his head slightly. Interesting. You're already stronger. The Eternity Mask quietly answered. Combat superiority established. All for one laughed. Then let us correct that. Crack. Dozens more quirks activated. Gigantic black tendrils burst from beneath his coat. Air pressure spiraled around him. Electricity danced across his arms. His body expanded. His presence alone became overwhelming. This is only a fraction. The Eternity Mask responded instantly. Equalization updated. All physical parameters increased. Host maintains superiority. Izuku calmly looked at him. Finished. All for one smiled. Not remotely. Boom. The king of quirks vanished. Even sound struggled to follow him. His fist appeared directly before Izuku's face. Boom. Izuku blocked it. Before the impact ended, another fist. Another kick. Compressed air. Shockwaves. Piercing spikes. Gravity distortion. One quirk after another. Dozens. Then hundreds. The attacks came endlessly. Yet, the Eternity Mask adapted after every exchange. Reaction speed updated. Trajectory prediction synchronized. Combat synchronization complete. Izuku moved like flowing water. Every attack missed by centimeters. Every overwhelming combination became manageable. All for one gradually realized something. No matter how many quirks he added, Izuku always became slightly stronger. His smile slowly faded. Impossible. Your ceiling. Where is it? Izuku answered calmly. I don't have one. Boom. He stepped inside another shockwave. His fist struck All for One's chest. Boom. The villain slid backward. His boots carved trenches through reinforced concrete. For the first time in decades, someone had forced him backward through raw power. All for One laughed again. This time, with genuine excitement. Excellent. Truly excellent. He spread both arms. Then witness everything. The entire building shook violently. Crack. 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 Thousands of stolen quirks awakened together. Dark energy flooded the warehouse. Compressed storms. Flames. Lightning. Kinetic force. Vibration. Countless abilities fused into one catastrophic sphere above his hands. The surrounding air distorted. The ground melted. The night sky itself seemed to darken. The Eternity Mask remained perfectly calm. Maximum hostile output detected. Conceptual comparison complete. Initiating ultimate equalization. The stars upon the mask stopped rotating. Instead, they became an endless galaxy. Izuku felt no violent surge. No explosion of energy. Only absolute certainty. The Eternity Mask quietly spoke. Host now exceeds the opponent's total effective power. All for One's eyes widened beneath his ruined mask. What? That's impossible. I possess thousands of quirks. You possess one. Izuku slowly raised a single fist. I only need one. All for One unleashed everything. Boom. A world-ending torrent of combined quirks swallowed the warehouse. The city shook. Clouds split apart. The attack consumed everything in its path. Izuku stepped forward. One punch. Boom. The Eternity Mask transformed that single strike into a conceptual counterforce. It didn't overpower each individual quirk. It surpassed the combined concept of all the power gathered before it. The torrent collapsed instantly. Crack. The fused energy shattered like glass. Shockwaves reversed direction. All for One's attack folded inward upon itself. His eyes widened. No. Boom. The reflected force struck him directly. The King of Quirks was launched across the warehouse. He crashed through wall after wall. Crash. 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 The entire factory collapsed behind him. Dust rose into the night. Silence followed. Izuku slowly lowered his fist. The Eternity Mask quietly announced. Ultimate equalization successful. Hostile defeated. Beneath the ruins, All for One struggled to rise. His life support mask sparked violently. Hiss. Hiss. He looked toward the lone figure standing amid the collapsing factory. For the first time in generations, the ruler of Japan's underworld understood something undeniable. There existed a power that could not be stolen, could not be copied, and could never belong to him. The fragment of eternity had chosen its champion, and the King of Quirks had lost. Dawn broke over Kamino Ward. Thick smoke continued rising from the ruins of the abandoned factory. Emergency vehicles surrounded the district. Police officers searched every collapsed structure. Pro-heroes secured the perimeter. None of them understood what had happened. There were no witnesses, only destruction. Inside the largest crater, All for One slowly pushed aside broken concrete. Crack. His damaged life support mask hissed violently. Hiss. Hiss. Blood dripped from beneath the breathing apparatus. For the first time in decades, his body refused to respond properly. He quietly laughed. Defeated by one artifact, he slowly looked toward the empty sky. Interesting. Very. A black portal quietly appeared beside him. Whoosh. Kurogiri emerged. Master, we must leave. All for One remained silent. Then nodded. Yes. This battle is over. Before disappearing, he looked toward the ruined battlefield one last time. But the war has only begun. Both vanished into the portal. Several kilometers away, Izuku stood alone atop an unfinished skyscraper. The morning wind crossed the rooftop. Whoosh. For the first time since receiving the Eternity Mask, its voice sounded tired. Combat concluded. Izuku frowned. Are you all right? Conceptual authority stable. However, equalizing against the accumulated power of All for One required unprecedented output. The stars covering the mask dimmed slightly. Temporary instability detected. Izuku gently touched the edge of the mask. Rest. I'll handle things until you recover. Acknowledged. The stars slowly resumed rotating. Throughout Japan, news stations interrupted every broadcast. Breaking news. A massive explosion has devastated an abandoned industrial district in Kamino. Investigators have discovered evidence of an unknown battle. Authorities believe the mysterious vigilante known as the Equalizer may have been involved. Social media erupted. Some believed the Equalizer had defeated another criminal organization. Others insisted he had finally fallen. Speculation spread faster than facts. Inside U.A., students gathered around the television. Hiroshima stared wide-eyed. Another battle. Mina looked worried. He keeps fighting alone. Ochako quietly lowered her head. I hope he's okay. Suyu nodded. Ribbit. He never asks anyone for help. All Might silently watched the report. He remembered the rooftop conversation months ago. The determination hidden behind the black mask. Young man, he whispered quietly. Don't carry the whole world yourself. That evening, despite the previous night's battle, Izuku resumed patrolling Musudafu. Criminals still existed. People still needed help. The Eternity Mask quietly spoke. Energy reserves recovering. Current operational efficiency, 93%. Izuku smiled faintly. That's enough. A scream echoed through the streets. Help. Without hesitation, he moved. Whoosh. A burning apartment building stood surrounded by panicked civilians. Smoke poured from the upper floors. Firefighters struggled to reach trapped residents. There's still someone inside. Without slowing, Izuku entered the flames. Inside, he rescued an elderly man. Then 2 children. Finally, a young mother trapped beneath a collapsed ceiling. Boom. He lifted the concrete effortlessly. Go. Quickly. The woman hurried outside carrying her children. The building suddenly groaned. Crack. The weakened structure finally reached its limit. Everyone out. Firefighters backed away. The entire apartment complex began collapsing. Boom. Izuku immediately jumped toward the nearest opening. At that exact moment, a massive steel support beam broke loose above him. Crack. It crashed downward. Boom. Izuku raised one arm. The beam shattered against him. Yet, the impact carried unexpected force. The already weakened Eternity Mask flickered. Warning. Structural instability. Before Izuku could react, crack. A thin fracture spread across the left side of the mask. He froze. Mask. Another crack appeared. Crack. Golden light escaped through the damaged fabric. Outside, dozens of civilians watched in shock. One firefighter pointed upward. Look. As Izuku leapt from the collapsing building, part of the damaged mask broke away. A small fragment fell through the smoke. The remaining mask immediately reformed around most of his face. But not completely. For several seconds, the left side of his face became visible. Green hair, freckles, the unmistakable face of a teenage boy. Cameras flashed instantly. Click, click, click. Journalists standing behind police barriers captured everything. We got it. His face. The Equalizer's face. Izuku landed safely outside. The Eternity Mask immediately restored itself. The damaged section closed once more. The stars resumed glowing. Structural repair complete. Identity exposure. Partial. Izuku slowly looked toward the reporters. Dozens of cameras pointed directly at him. For the first time, they had seen part of the person beneath the legend. Before anyone reached him, whoosh, he disappeared into the night. The following morning, every television, every newspaper, every phone screen, displayed the same headline: The Equalizer's identity. A teenage boy. Blurred photographs showed only half of his face. Green hair, part of one eye, a few freckles. Not enough for complete identification. Yet enough to prove something unbelievable. Inside homes across Japan, people stared silently. He's just a kid. That can't be real. He saved us. And he's younger than most heroes. Inside the League of Villains hideout, Shigaraki crushed a television beneath his hand. Boom. A child. All this time, his breathing became uneven. Scratic. 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 I'll find you. I'll tear away that mask myself. Inside a quiet apartment, Izuku Midoriya stared at the television. The blurry image remained on the screen. Green hair, freckles, a familiar jawline. Her hands slowly began trembling. No, it can't be. Tears gathered in her eyes. Izuku. Far away, standing atop the highest tower in Musudafu, Izuku looked down upon the sleeping city. The Eternity Mask quietly whispered. Host identity compromise. 28% probability of future identification. Izuku looked toward the countless lights below. If protecting them means they learn who I am. He gently adjusted the mask. Then I'll accept it. The stars across the Eternity Mask glowed softly. For the first time, the legend of the Equalizer had become more than a faceless myth. The world now knew, its greatest protector was not an invincible symbol. He was, simply, a young man who had chosen to save others. 1 month later, Japan had changed. Crime statistics continued falling. Organized criminal groups abandoned entire districts. Human trafficking networks disappeared one after another. Illegal trigger distribution nearly collapsed. Every criminal organization shared the same warning. If the Equalizer appears, run. Inside the National Public Safety Commission, an emergency meeting had been called. Government officials, police commissioners, top-ranking pro-heroes, all sat around a circular table. A massive screen displayed hundreds of reports. Organized crime reduction, civilian rescue records, villain apprehensions. Every report carried the same signature. Unknown Vigilante. Silence filled the room. Finally, one commissioner spoke. He has violated hero licensing laws. Another answered immediately. Yes, but he has also saved more civilians than any active hero during the past several months. A senior police officer stood. Our officers have reviewed every confirmed incident. He pressed a button. Photographs appeared. The sludge villain. The USJ attack. The Shie Hassaikai convoy. Stain. The forest training camp. The apartment fire. In every case, he protected civilians first. Another image appeared. Nomu. Defeated. Then another. All for one's ruined battlefield. Our investigations also indicate he prevented multiple national-scale disasters. The room fell silent again. President Mike quietly folded his arms. He never accepted money. Midnight nodded. Never requested recognition. Aizawa remained expressionless. And never killed anyone. All Might slowly stood. Every person looked toward the symbol of peace. The law exists to protect people, not the other way around. He looked around the room. If someone repeatedly breaks the law only to save lives, perhaps the law should reconsider itself. 3 days later, every television station across Japan broadcast a historic announcement. Following a joint review by the Hero Public Safety Commission and the National Police Agency, all criminal investigations concerning the unidentified vigilante known as the Equalizer have officially been suspended. In recognition of his extraordinary contributions to public safety, no further prosecution will be pursued unless future crimes are committed. The announcement stunned the country. For the first time in history, the government had effectively acknowledged the existence of a vigilante, not as an enemy, but as someone whose actions had protected countless lives. Inside U.A., students watched the announcement together. Kirishima grinned. He actually did it. Mina laughed. He's officially free. Ochako smiled warmly. Not because he asked for it. Because he earned it. Tsuyu nodded. Ribbit. The world finally understands. Bakugo looked away. Tick. Took them long enough. Todoroki quietly stared out the window. He changed the system. Without joining it. Iida smiled faintly. That's very much like him. None of them knew. The person they admired sat only a few classrooms away whenever school ended. Still unnoticed. Still anonymous. Inside a modest apartment, Izuku Midoriya quietly prepared dinner. Izuku entered carrying grocery bags. I'm home. She smiled warmly. Welcome home. For several moments, they simply enjoyed an ordinary evening together. She had seen the blurred photograph. She had suspected the truth. But she chose not to ask. Because every night, Her son always returned home safely. And that was enough. Later, night covered Musutafu once again. The city lights shimmered beneath the stars. Izuku stood atop the highest rooftop overlooking the skyline. The Eternity mask slowly formed across his face. Whoosh! Its voice had returned to its calm, steady tone. Host status. Optimal. Conceptual synchronization. Complete. Izuku looked across the peaceful city. It's quieter. Confirmed. Overall violent crime reduced by 62% since initial activation. Not perfect, but better. The mask answered softly. Justice is not measured by perfection. It is measured by every life protected. Izuku smiled. I like that. For a moment, neither spoke. The wind quietly crossed the rooftop. Whoosh. Then, the Eternity mask spoke again. Host. One final record. Throughout countless generations, many have worn fragments of eternity. Warriors, wanderers, guardians, every era required a protector. Yet, none carried the fragment as you have. Izuku looked toward the stars. Why? Because you never sought power. Only the ability to help others. The stars upon the mask shone brighter than ever before. Therefore, the fragment recognizes you, not merely as its current bearer, but as its eternal guardian. Golden light spread gently across the mask. Not violent, not overwhelming, warm, peaceful. The connection between Izuku and the artifact became complete. From that moment onward, the Eternity mask no longer felt like a separate object. It had become part of his very existence. Far below, a young boy watched the skyline with wide eyes. He pointed toward a distant rooftop. Mom, look. High above the city, a lone black figure stood beneath the stars. His dark scarf drifted quietly in the wind. Golden eyes overlooked every street, every home, every person sleeping peacefully below. The boy smiled. It's him, the Equalizer. His mother smiled too. Yes, thanks to him, people feel safe walking home again. The Vigilante heard none of it. He never waited for praise. Never searched for applause. He simply turned toward another district. The Eternity mask quietly whispered. Minor robbery in progress. 2 civilians endangered. Izuku nodded once. Let's go. Whoosh. He disappeared into the night. The rooftop became empty once more. But the hope he left behind remained. Legends would one day argue about his identity. Historians would debate whether he was a hero or a vigilante. Governments would remember the day the law changed because of one young man. Criminals would remember the impossible opponent who always became stronger. Children would simply remember the masked guardian who always arrived when people needed him most. And somewhere beyond the endless universe, the cosmic entity known as Eternity quietly observed its chosen champion. Balance had been preserved, not by a king, not by a god, not by the strongest warrior, but by a quirkless boy, who had believed that saving even one person was always worth the fight.